Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody, all around, wherever you may be, make some noise, clap it up. It's time for the worship with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. We here, we back, we excited, and we are here to talk about so much stuff surrounding last week's action as well as fights coming up this weekend in boxing. But the most important thing that we had happen over the weekend was the win of a newly crowned, or rather, formerly crowned champion, becoming champion again as Fabio Wardley gets knocked out by Daniel Dubois in an absolute bloodbath and war of attrition against two of the biggest heavyweights in all of the boxing world today, or rather two of the biggest punchers in all the boxing world, in the standpoint of the biggest division in boxing. And now Dubois reigns supreme again as one of the two champions in the world of heavyweight boxing. And we got to talk about where he's going to go next. Also, we got this weekend, Keyshawn Davis makes his return. Yes, indeed, the man, the myth, the legend himself, who formerly had a fall from grace, now takes on a rival who he went and jumped a couple of years, I think last year, and subsequently his lost opportunity at a championship fight at 135 against De Los Santos, where now the rivalry is renewed and the blood feud gets settled inside the ring with Keyshawn Davis versus Nahir Albright going at it against each other at, I believe, 140 pounds. I believe it's 140 pounds that they're going to be fighting that. But we're going to be talking about that fight, my predictions, my reactions, my breakdowns of what that's going to look like, as well as much more in the boxing world we will be discussing, like with Devin Haney, Keyshawn Davis, Devin Haney, Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson, and a whole swath of other names that we will be discussing. But hey, since you're here, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Come on, be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe. And go ahead and join on our community, join our empire, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube, you can keep up to date with what we have going on the channel. Also, leave a like on the video. One like makes a world of difference to help us grow and shine in this community, to go and reach out and populate the masses of the algorithms on YouTube and beyond. And please be sure to do the two most important things, which is, if you can support the channel, Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, Super Chat, Super Gift, stickers, and the like, because we're funded by viewers like you. We can't do this without you. And please be sure to share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together and growing this channel so much more, one person at a time, wherever you may be. Hopefully we're going to be entertaining you, and hopefully we're going to be giving you a lot to discuss and new perspectives to think about. And please put your chats in the comment section. We want to hear from you and everything that we talk about on today's show. And without further ado, we got boxing to cover, we got sports to, we got a whole amalgamation of topics and fights that we got to break down. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time to do what we do best. It's time to entertain you, and it's time to start our Tuesday by stepping into the ring. Come on, let's get it started. Ring the bell. It's time to work. It's time to shine. It's time to get it going, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get it started. Round one of the show going underway. And for the first topic of discussion, we have, well, we have to, honestly, even before the Shakur stuff, even before the Keyshawn Davis fight, we gotta talk about what happened with Daniel Dubois versus Fabio Wardley. I told y'all that I thought that Wardley was gonna get KO'd, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Hey, brother, can I pick him or can I pick him? Can I pick him? Can I pick him? Yeah! You're doggone right, we got it, and Daniel Dubois has officially became the new heavyweight champion of the world by knocking out and putting to sleep, rather knocking out on his feet, Fabio Wardley in one of the most brutal, absolutely unapologetic bloodbath type of wars that we've had in the heavyweight division, and honestly one of the best fights we've had in the modern era of heavyweight boxing within the last 5 to 10 years, on par with the likes of, from a standpoint of violence perspective, Tyson Fury versus Fabio Wardley. Because this was the fight I told you, there wasn't going to be any technique thrown out. There wasn't going to be no semblance of trying to be all slick, be all smooth, be all this way and that, using technical prowess, footwork, the jab. I told you it was going to be blood, and it turned into just that. And we saw Fabio Wardley knock down Daniel Dubois in the first round and 2 times early into the fight. I believe within rounds 1 to round I want to say 5 or 6. Can't exactly remember, but he did it. And in terms of Wardley, put him on his butt. And then we got to see Daniel Dubois still take his heart and wear it on his sleeve. The very thing that people said he didn't have, he showed it. And exactly what I said would have happened, happened. When it came to a war of attrition, Wardley got done in by a brother who just was able to carry himself into the later rounds better than what we saw Fabio Wardley do. And I knew it was going to catch up to it, and now it finally has. We're going to break down that fight. But we got people in the chat right now, like Mr. Miyagi. How you doing? Good to see you. We thank you for tuning in to the show with us on today. We appreciate you joining in on our live stream, and we love the support that you bring to the table. We're so happy that you joined in. Also, Technique, how you doing? Good to see you. Salute to you and everybody viewing all around the world, and we appreciate you all joining in on our show today. And we love it and we appreciate. Also, tell me if the audio sounds good. I just want to make sure that we are sounding, we're not sounding like we're scratching in the mic. So hopefully just keep me updated on that. But we were saying, a lot of people were picking Warddley to be able to win. The one-shot power, we still had questions about Daniel Dubois, still had concerns about Dubois' heart, about his mentality, about his willingness to push the envelope of when the fight gets tough, he's going to quit. And crazy enough, it got answered against one of the most dogged warriors that we have in the heavyweight world. There should be no more debate as to Daniel Dubois is a quitter. He is not a quitter. It shouldn't be a concern anymore, because if he was going to quit, it would have been against the likes of Fabio Wardley. And crazy enough, we got to see Daniel Dubois actually show some really good IQ, because the second time he got knocked down with a shot off of a 1-2 a combination by Wardley that caught him on the back of the head, instead of trying to fight through it, the brother took a knee. That championship mentality and experience of Wardley, instead of trying to fight through being hurt, especially when he was still in somewhat the midway point in the fight, he didn't just stay up and try to fight or back up. He took a knee. He went and composed himself and let himself recover so that he could do what he wanted to do, which was in the later stages, when Fabio Wardley gets tired, when Fabio Wardley starts slowing down, when his combinations get sloppy, when his technique gets all out. Yes, it's dangerous, but it becomes very much exploitable. Now, with the speed gone, what are you able to do against me and my steel running engine, running motor, and better inside work? And Wardley didn't have an answer for it. And Wardley was landing some flush shots on Daniel Dubois, and Dubois, just like he did against Hrgovic, especially later on, once the round went to round 8, he was able to tank them. He was able to withstand the power of one of the most feared punchers in this division, and he stopped Fabio Wardley. He stopped him. He had him out on his feet. He hurt him, and he got him out of it. Yes, he didn't knock him down, but he did what many people said would be the only way you can actually beat Fabio Wardley, which is make him have to stay, put him out, put him asunder, get rid of him. Because if you give him a chance, he is going to be able to overcome and catch you. Dubois did just that. Landed a beautiful 1-2 combination, jab that caused him to back up, and then a short right hand that completely dazed the likes of Fabio Wardley and had the ref step in. And now we have in the new heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel Dubois, reigns supreme as once again on top of the mountain, or rather one of the two people on top of the mountain in their heavyweight landscape. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? And this is why And again, I see you all's chats. I'm getting ready to read them right now. In fact, let me go on and read them before I continue my conversation. Let me see. Yo, I'm in Rhoda. How you doing? Good to see you. Salute to you, and we appreciate you on our show today. Welch, I have to thank you because of what you said about Dubois and Wardley. I went to watch the tape, and I changed my pick on and got the right pick for another upset pick. Thank you. Hey, man, look, I'm happy to help. I'm telling you, I'm not look, I don't act like I know everything, and I'm just giving you all the different perspectives. I was very well ready to be wrong about this fight because of with the battle that they both had against each other, what that it was going to be against each other. It was going to be. Dubois didn't seem like he was going to move his head a lot, and so because of that, in a fight coming in, I even said it earlier. If Warddley catches him early, oh yeah, it can be done. It can be done because Dubois is there to get hit, and it was true. It was just the later half is when Wardley is always vulnerable. It was just the opponent kept making the bad mistake, and that's what caught him. But everything with Dubois, because it was short and because it was powerful, it mitigated the risk to some degree. When it came down to, okay, he's in trouble, now I can really push the pace, get to him, and put him on the ropes and put some damage to him. Now, I don't have to worry so much about if a looping shot can get to me because Dubois, he punches short. It's not that he crazy enough, he showed that he's also a short puncher, but he doesn't loop his stuff. It's very much, like it's the way that he throws his shots. If Wardley ever missed, when he got tired, the very shot that knocked him out was going to catch him. The short right hand. Because Wardley, he always leans back. He always goes through and tries to get away from the shot, especially on the ropes. And because of that, he leaned the same way against Justice Haney in the same direction. Once he got tired after round 7, Dubois, unlike Haney, was able to land that shot. And we saw what happened. And so, hey, and this is no disrespect to Wardley. Wardley getting this far with him being late in the game as a boxer, learning on the job, essentially going up against some of the biggest heavy hitters and best, really good technical fighters at this heavyweight division, and being able to still achieve this level of success, knocking out David Adelaide, knocking out Justice Haney, knocking out and stopping Joseph Parker, even though, again, that was a bad stoppage on my decision, or in my opinion. Still, it happened. He got through Joseph Parker. He survived Joseph Parker, and Parker was looking like he was going to be the guy that would have been able to fight Usyk. And now he went up against Daniel Dubois and put Daniel Dubois on his butt twice and nearly had everybody believing, yo, this man may actually do it. He could put himself in a position we could get Usyk versus Wardley, forced because of this monumental type of win. And so don't look, he can still go through and wreak havoc through this division. He is still young, and he's got a lot on the table. Yes, when I say young, I mean he's got enough juice in the tank. We're going to see Wardley here for a long time. This ain't going to be the first time he gets a title. I can promise you, this ain't going to be the first time he gets a title. I can guarantee you that, or at least be in contention for a world championship. Don't lament the loss, because this was a good loss, because this was a good war. It was everything that Wardley showed everything that we knew Wardley was in the best frame. And Dubois answered questions that I said needed to be answered. And doggone it, he did it. And did it with flying colors. I appreciate it. I love it. I can't wait to see more of it. But we still have more people in the chat. So let me keep on reading you all's chats and responses. That uppercut Wardley hit Daniel with was right on the chin, and Daniel just kept coming forward. See, that's the thing. We saw Usyk knocking out Daniel Dubois. Can we now agree that wasn't a fluke, that he quit? Usyk landed a picture-perfect punch off a picture-perfect counter window with full force. And again, he's turned into a real puncher because the brother knocked down and dazed the likes of Fury. You don't just do that without having some significant pop in this division. That's the best. That's one of the best in the world, and that's the best heavyweight of this era. You doggone right, getting caught like that was not a fluke, but people kept saying it was. All across social media. Why? I don't know. And now against Wardley, mind you, after getting knocked down, after getting caught, he kept coming. He kept landing. And that's the same uppercut that has dazed countless other opposition. And it started at the beginning and the end in the Hail Mary situations that Wardley's always thrived in. So this was the answer to everybody's response, or rather everybody's critique of Daniel Dubois. Is Daniel Dubois a quitter? If you say yes after this fight, brother, you just hating. Because this brother showed, yeah, I really do have the heart of a champion. And I shouldn't be questioned anymore about what I bring to the table. And I told you all, it all started with Jarrell Miller. After Jarrell Miller, he turned into a completely different fighter. When he found out I can dig deep and go 12 with a fighter that's punching nonstop, and I stopped him, it changed his whole outlook. You see the way he's approaching fights. You see the way that he's talking. You see the way that he's carrying himself. Now, he doesn't believe anybody can beat him. Even if you do beat him, hey, good on you. Doesn't matter. Nobody else has beat me after this. And guess what? He's still walking through that. 3 of his last 4 fights have been by KO no, 3 of his last. Miller, Hrgovic, Joshua, Usyk, Dubois, Wardley. 4 of his 5 fights have ended by KO. And they've either been top 10 contender, fringe top 10 contender, heavyweight champion, formerly, in Anthony Joshua, and now current heavyweight champion, Fabio Wardley, undefeated. Everyone by KO. I don't know what to say, except for, hey man, he shut everybody up. He shut a lot of people up. When looking at him in his career. And I hope he gained a lot of fans now, because, look, Dubois, there's a reason why I said he can be amongst the leaders of the next era, as he'll be the older staple with Itauma, Teramwana, and a couple other people. There's a brother out of America that's also moving up in the ranks of heavyweight. But it's like Richard Torres, of those names, he'll probably be near at the top, because he can do stuff like this. It's crude. It's rude. But it sure enough ain't shrewd. But it's straight up violent. It's violent. And I'm telling you, he can take that punch, but he really can't. But let me see. The lack of experience, lack of amateur experience really showed from Wardley with lack of punch variation. Yeah, again, learning on the job, this is going to be a part of his growth. And I would hope after this, now he sees, okay, there is some, I can't just rely on my chin alone, because if I do, it's gonna be we're gonna run into situations like this more often. But if he does change, and he's young enough to, yeah, he can be a real threat for anybody in this division. Because already at this baseline, he was looked at as, okay, you're gonna need a puncher like Dubois to actually stop this cat. Because if you ain't him, you're most likely getting stopped by him. That's raw talent. Now if you refine that, oh, you can be something serious. Also, Sergey, how you doing? Good to see you. Salute to you, and we appreciate you on our stream today. Hopefully, everybody who's here, leave a like on the stream. Leave a like on the video. Keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions. We want to hear from you in every regard and facet of this conversation and beyond. Don't worry, we got Shakur that we're going to be discussing. We got Albright versus, let me rephrase that. Keyshawn Davis versus Albright. We're going to be discussing that on this show. We got a lot to cover on our show today. And don't forget, we also got the championship rounds at the end, where it's NBA, NFL, all the stuff that you want to discuss outside of boxing or even within boxing that we don't cover. You get to have your questions about that in the last 30 minutes to an hour of this show. But we're going to keep with the tune of what we got going on right now. Let me see. Rhoda Itauma probably fights the winner of Hrgovic versus Dave Allen in August. Frank said the winner of that gets Moses in August. Now, that's going to be the next topic. We're going to address it because Itauma has now become a real name in this conversation for will we get Dubois versus Itauma next. We're getting ready to address that, but let me keep on reading these chats. I feel Daniel's mentality is the only real issue. If he keeps the confidence, he will be a great champion. I don't even think the mentality of Daniel Dubois is an issue anymore. If you're talking about in the ring, I don't think that's the problem. I think the biggest problem with Dubois, and it's crazy that we're talking about problems, even though he just beat one of the biggest boogeymen of this division right now, who was hey, a lot of people were saying he gonna put him to sleep. And so, like, it's crazy that we're saying problems, but we're looking at this from a future perspective. Dubois has to be a better, evasive, aggressive fighter. People already call him Mike Tyson-esque to some degree because of the way he throws the shot. I'm not saying he is Mike Tyson. I'm not saying he's nearly as good. I'm not saying he throws his punches like him, but in the squared up stance, he wants to go and do a lot of damage. Both feet planted very much, not one foot in front of the other, but he's got his feet set wide apart so he can do maximum damage with his shots and square you up and cut off the ring, even though he needs to be better at cutting off the ring. If he became better at using head movement while coming forward, it would eliminate a lot of the issues of him getting caught in the midst of danger like he did against Wardley, like he got caught with against Hrgovic, and other fights of the past. That's going to be an issue for the elite of the elite, like with Usyk and others. But that's technical. Mentally, I don't think there should be big questions about him anymore for me. You can complain about how he handled the press conference and all that stuff, but the heart now and the will to win for Dubois, I don't think should be questioned anymore, because he just beat the brother with the biggest heart in this, or one of the biggest hearts in this division right now. So in my perspective, I don't think mentality is the issue. Now, if I'm wrong, please, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions, because this is a place of discourse. I want to hear your reasoning. Because I don't see anything wrong with the mentality right now. He could just be a little bit better on the mic. He could be a lot better on the mic. I'm not gonna lie, but the confidence, I like where it is, but I think he, at this point in time, as the reigning champion, he's a hard fighter to beat for anybody, and unless you're Usyk or Fury, even the likes of Itauma, if they do fight against each other, could run into some issues. But Dubois ain't easy to beat. He ain't. We might do this second run of a title, because Usyk may not be the guy that unless Usyk comes in and says, yep, I'm fighting you next. We could see like him actually reign for longer than just one fight. We really could. But let me see. Dubois might be a future Hall of Famer. 28 years old, was 27, 28 years old, already two-time heavyweight champion, knockouts over like real significant names, especially with Anthony Joshua. You making a case? He's definitely making a case for early on, and he's still got some ways to go in his career. Yeah, he's doing pretty good. Let me see. The Mexican fighter started showing footwork in boxing. We saw Jaime Munguia and Pitbull show boxing abilities and footwork. Pitbull got a surprise for Tank. Oh, y'all, Beats, so how you doing? Good to see you. How you doing, Beats? I appreciate you on the stream. Hopefully you leave a like on the stream. And again, right now we're about Dubois and his win over Wardley. But I can address this real quick. They are using footwork. I love it. I appreciate it. I mean, some of the greatest fighters that we've seen in boxing, especially from the Mexican ethos, they had great feet. They had phenomenal feet. And so and I don't even know if Isaac Cruz is gonna be fighting Tank anymore, because now allegedly it's Floyd Schofield that's gonna be fighting Tank Davis. But if Isaac Cruz does get some better footwork, or actually starts moving his head a whole lot more as he's coming in on the inside to evade the jabs and shots of opposition, he could really surprise a lot of people. So I love it. I do love it. Let me see. AJ, Wilder, Fury, Dubois. You can only put two in the Hall of Fame. Who you put? Well, I mean, amongst those, AJ and Fury. I mean, I don't think that's a no-brainer. AJ and Fury. If we're going by resume, it's AJ and Fury, because both of them have fought the most talent. They've had the most laden accolades of success, especially Anthony Joshua, him being an Olympian, on top of being unified heavyweight champion, on top of knocking out Klitschko, Pulev, Povetkin. No, not Povetkin. I don't know if he fought Povetkin, but Dillian White in his prime. Like don't let the losses to Usyk and the upset of Andy Ruiz fool you, because he avenged that fight with Andy Ruiz and outboxing the Kingdom Come. Made it so that it wasn't even close. And subsequently afterwards, he's been like building. He's what 25-3. He's only lost 3 times. Or 4. No, 4. I'm sorry, 4. Because it was Ruiz. It was Usyk, and then Dubois. Yeah, so he's only lost 4 times against one of the heaviest punchers in the world, and upset with Andy Ruiz, who had the fastest hands in the division at that point in time. But still, he should have beat him. But he was going to beat him before that he got caught with a shot, because he had knocked him down the round before, or either in that same round or the round before. But regardless, he was going for the knockdown. It looked like it was going to be easy American debut for him when he fought against Andy Ruiz. But even still, and then the 2 fights to Usyk. So it ain't like he's been, getting dog walked by folks. That's the reason why he still is one of the best heavyweights in the world. And so he's got a resume to prove. So I'd say it's Fury and AJ. If 2 people are going to be in the Hall of Fame, it's going to be them 2 before anybody else. I can almost assure you. Let me see. Dubois should forget about Usyk for now. He just defended his title while building up his resume. And I would say now we can talk about Dubois versus Itauma. And the reason why I bring this up, I understand. You just chatted about Frank Warren saying that we would see Itauma fight Hrgovic or Dave Allen in August. I completely understand. I'm not overlooking it. We have to now look at this though as, what if Itauma switches his tune? Yeah, he's under Frank Warren. What if he says, I don't want Hrgovic or Dave Allen. Give me Dubois now. And he pulls a Jared Anderson. He's already been, I believe he's already ranked number 1. Is that for the WBA or IBF title? Let me look up real quick which belt Moses Itauma rankings. He's the number 1 ranked heavyweight for the WBA and WBO at this point in time. IBF number 5, WBC number 3. Now, what belt? Now, let me make sure I got the belts right for which one. Dubois. Was that for the IBF or the WBA? Okay. So Dubois beat Wardley for the WBO. So that would mean, yeah, okay. So if you can look right here, excuse me, if you can listen, not look, I'm sorry. If you can listen, Itauma's ranked number 1 in WBO. That's the belt that we just saw Dubois take from Ward. We could see Wardley say, forget those fights. I want my titles now. And I want a shot at the belt now against a man who he went to the same problems that Fabio Wardley had with Dubois. I'm not going to have with him. And I can get this title. And he could just say, I want the challenge instead of waiting. I want to press the issue, push the pace, and make an opportunity for myself. I am perfectly fine with seeing Dubois, not Dubois. I'm perfectly fine seeing Hrgovic or Dave Allen versus Itauma next. I'm perfectly fine. It would bring out questions that I would need to see. The power of Dave Allen, the relentless pressure, the smothering nature that we've seen Dave Allen be able to push people to and beat them like he did against Johnny Fisher. And that's going to push Itauma potentially to a place that he may not be as experienced with that late into a fight. And Hrgovic, with dealing with that type of height, that'll be the first real big man in terms of towering presence that we would have seen Itauma face off against, dealing with that long jab and that long right hand. A true 1-2 type of puncher. A real set foot. Like Archer. And by Archer, I mean the archery position. Where you're up high You got your arrows pointed down at the opposition, and they got to reach up or angle themselves up to get to you, perched up from your high abode. That's what I'm saying. That fight with Hrgovic would be for Itauma for the first time. With that type of technical prowess, utilizing one of the most basic fundamental combinations in boxing. Way better than what we've seen from the likes of the opponents that we have Dubois or that we had Itauma face thus far. That would be a huge test. Then I would be perfectly fine with seeing how does he deal with that. But I also understand there is if with somebody like Itauma, there's a push and there's a feeling I guarantee you that he has. This brother's good. But y'all were saying that I can beat Mike Tyson's record, even though I've been past that point of age. The skill level that I have at this point in time, I think I'm ready to put myself at risk. He could be thinking that way. And he may just force the issue, since he's also ranked for the position. So we're going to see how it goes, and we're going to see what happens. Let me see. I think Benavidez would beat Dubois. I mean, to be... Yeah. I think he's a better fighter. I'm going to say when... Because he is, I guarantee you, and this isn't about David Benavidez, but he is going to move up to heavyweight. David Benavidez will move up to heavyweight eventually, at some point in time. I promise you. But what we need to understand is that the power of Daniel Dubois just stopped one of the hardest hitters in this division, and the person who relied on his chin and his chin alone as the best defensive mechanism for himself being dominant. That's going to be the scariest fight I would ever have seen Benavidez in. However, if he needed to box his way to a victory against Daniel Dubois, he could absolutely do it. But the biggest thing is, that fight, I don't know if he could fight it in the same way as he fought against Zerda. Because he stood in the pocket and took clean punches. And he showed he got a chin. He did. He answered all those questions because Zerda got some heavy hands. But that's a different story. If you get caught in those exchanges against Dubois, now I guarantee you're going to be dazed. You can maybe take one. I'll give the benefit of the doubt to Benavidez. You can maybe take one clean inside shot as you throw in combinations or in the pocket with Dubois. If you stay there, you can maybe take one and be like, okay, that's your limit. After that, yeah, you may not be able to play that same hot potato game, but I guarantee you the speed will be that big of a factor that he could do it. And the same situation of building up damage on the same eye, he could do that same thing, or at least implement the same game plan. With that left hook, it would be possible. And I've said it before. David Benavidez is one of the 5 best boxers in the world. He's the 4th best boxer in the world, in my opinion. That brother should be. If he doesn't want the heavyweight, one of the most hard Rubik's Cubes for anybody up there to fight and beat. And if he ever fought Daniel Dubois later on, it could probably take a year or two. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Let me see. Zach Chile just knocked out Morel. Yep, and you know what? I didn't see that coming in the slightest. We're also talking about the rest of the week. No, we are talking about the rest of the week, or a lot of the week's action in boxing, and we kind of flip-flopping here and there. But like, I did not expect that at all, from Morel getting stopped by Zach. I didn't see that. That was the other most significant. That was the other most significant fight from a day perspective that I had seen on the night. I thought we were going to see Morel come back, look better than he did against Kavat or Kavate. If I'm saying anything wrong, I apologize. But nah, that shook me up. I did not expect that at all. But he legit got put out on his feet. I mean, if the ropes didn't hold him up, that buddy was going timber out in the ring. That was, man, that shocked me to my core. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that at all. Let me see. Callum Smith would have destroyed Morrell based on that fight. Yeah, he would have beat him. If Callum Smith had faced off against him at 175, what we saw that night, yeah, he would have beat him. He would have definitely beat him. Let me see. Moonman, how you doing? Good to see you. Salute to you. We appreciate you on our stream today. David Morrell hasn't been the same since he fought David. His punch resistance isn't the same. He gets dazed way faster now. I hate clowns. Now I hate clowns a lot in the ring. You don't play boxing. I mean, it's more than that. It's more than that. I think people were. I'm not gonna say that his punch resistance changed. I think it's the fact that at that division, his chin and his durability couldn't take what we were seeing at 175. He didn't get rocked insanely much from the likes of David Benavidez in that fight at that time at 175 at light heavyweight. However, whenever Benavidez was throwing, David Morrell had no choice but to shell up. When he fought against Katave, not Kavat, Katave, excuse me, is the name I was trying to say. When he fought against Katave, oh no, Katav, my apologies. I'm trying to say the name correctly. I think it's Katav, is how you say it. When he fought against Katav, he got caught flush and got rocked multiple times. I thought he had lost that fight. But the durability, again, the reactions to the shots, that time was more severe, but it was similar. He got stopped in his tracks, and he wasn't able to take it. And now he got knocked out ultimately. I don't think, looking back, I don't think that Dave Benavidez really diminished his chin. I don't think at 175 he could take the shots up here in the first place. Looking back retroactively. Looking at the reactions to how he was taking punishment in all three of these fights, it's been, he had no choice but to just shell up and just try to withstand it. And or he gets rocked because he can't. It's a difference up here. Because one of the biggest things about Benavidez, that fight had people saying Benavidez doesn't have power because he didn't hurt Morrell. That was the conversation. But in actuality, Morrell couldn't take the punishment. And so he was backing up the whole time and shutting up because, yeah, Benavidez at this division, just like everybody else, was hitting hard. And he couldn't just go and counter and be slick and all that stuff, not just because he was a better fighter than he had ever faced going up against him, but also the damage. The damage. It was affecting him. It was hurting him. Those shots were being felt through the guard, through the block, through his defense. And he couldn't make a mistake of potentially trying to get out the way and do all the other clowning and slick stuff. Because he was going to get caught again. And that time, yeah, get hurt flush. And so it's, at this point, he got to be a mover. Or he needs to be better at putting together his power and making people want to back up against him. Because right now, people are going to walk him down. That's how he got beat. He got walked down. In all three fights that he lost, he got walked down. All that slick stuff, all that stepping and the fancy stuff, which again can be used at times. It's not working because you're losing ground. And every time you lose ground at this division, you getting put in a predicament that you're going to end up just like you did in this last fight against Zach. You're going to get put to sleep. At this division, you're going to get put to sleep. If you cannot stand your ground and back people up, because right now you boxing like this is only getting you hurt. It's only getting you caught. He's got to change. And he's got to either put some punishment and make his style more aggressive to stop people backing him up, or this buddy got to turn to, okay, I'm a straight up boxer now. I'm out the pocket and out the way. If I'm gonna move, I'm moving all around the ring. I'm jabbing. I'm hooking and pivoting every other opportunity I can get. I'm doing my best Bivol impersonation if I need to, because it's getting dangerous now. Because this is the third time he's been knocked out and or dazed and or put in a situation where he's stuck because he can't do anything, because he isn't able to gain any ground. And boxing backwards ain't his best forte. So he got to either get better at your weakness, or you got to build on your strength. One of those two got to happen at this point. Let me see. I don't agree. Katav damaged Morrell more. He dropped him and busted him open. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. The damage got incurred more from Katav. But the impacts of what those punches were doing, looking back at the 3 fights, okay, every fight, yeah, the power, it was different. Look at how Morrell was reacting to when Hot Rod was punching him at 168, or excuse me, in his first fight at 175, rather than the rest of his fights. That was his first fight at 175. Though he dominated, look at what was working and why it was working. And it's the same story. That power, it was different. It was different. Let me see. Canelo put a beating on Plant that was beating, had his head hanging over the ropes. No, he did. He did. And it's like, and again, I'm not trying to go and overly lament David Morrell. It's just the fact that we in all honesty, we gotta look at this and say, well, what the world? We now were touting Morrell as the biggest, at that point in time, athletic danger to the likes of Benavidez and even Canelo Alvarez. Though he was only, 8-0, 9-0 at that point in time with the amateur pedigree. Everybody was saying, okay, hey, buddy, this man's here. He ready to fight. He ready to scrap. He ready to go to war. He ready to do all this stuff in terms of Morrell. And now we're saying, well, this just may not have it. And it could be at this division, he just may not have it. He may need to go back down to 168. If he can make 160, he may just need to go back down. Because it's not translating the same anymore. And these are opponents that, on paper, it looks like we should see Morrell be able to very much so handle these more flat-footed fighters with the skill sets that he has a lot more definitively than we're seeing now. Something's not clicking up here. Something ain't clicking for what he wants to be versus what he needs to be as a boxer at 175. Because light heavyweight division, at this point in time, all that glitter that he shows in this game, but it's not gold right now. And whatever was gold at this division got mined out after David Benavidez. And now we got people questioning, was it even there in the first place? Was it just a hype job, potentially overshot because of the idea, oh, he could be something cool against these other big fighters. Oh, look at all the fancy stuff. And now this is the problem. This is what he's got to face. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Will he do it? We're going to find out. That's the biggest thing. But either way, we want to make sure we keep on going through. We also got to talk about more in the rest of the show. Like with Keyshawn Davis versus Albright, a fight that is coming up on this Saturday. Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. We got ourselves a blood feud, y'all. We got ourselves a grudge match. We got ourselves a real war of hate and disdain. No matter what Keyshawn may want to say about in the last couple of weeks leading up to this fight, saying I don't want this fight, saying this ain't the fight I'm really pining for. Once again, I'm gonna play the clips for you all as we talk through this whole segment. But don't let any of those things fool you. This is a fight that has some real story behind it. This is the fight that has some real blood feud affairs between these two. Because if you forget what happened, Albright got jumped by the Davis brothers after going through and beating Keyshawn Davis's brother inside of the ring legitimately and cleanly without any problem. He did. It wasn't, by the time that fight ended, it wasn't close. And he absolutely, he dominated him. And now, after that fight, Keyshawn goes in the back. Him and his brothers all allegedly go into the locker room and jump Albright and try to beat him down. Big whole scuffle happened in the hallway. And the next thing you know, this is also built up because I think they also fought earlier in Keyshawn Davis' career. So this is like, oh, there's some history in the ring and outside the ring, and they want smoke with each other. Now this fight happening this Saturday, this is going to answer a lot of stuff for Keyshawn Davis. More so, it is a further spectacle. I won't say it'll prove more stuff. It's a further spectacle of his abilities as he still looks to go and fight against the likes of Devin Haney and others at potentially 147, which I hope we actually do see that at some point in time. I do. I really do. Because if we don't see that fight, that's going to be, man, I'm going to be hot. Because it's been built up for who knows how long. And I want to see this type of smoke. But boy, if we don't get that fight at some point with all the while he's been talking, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be upset. I'm not going to lie. But how is this fight going to go? In my estimation, well, I think it's going to be a knockout. Straight up. And we should see Albright get put on the floor. But with what he did against Frank Martin, all of a sudden it brings a little bit of a new wrinkle to the table. I didn't think he was on Frank Martin's level, but to see him legitimately rock and beat the likes of Frank Martin, or at least his shots, I think it was it a draw or did he lose? I can't remember if it was a draw or Frank Martin actually lost. He should have lost that fight, if anything, if it was a draw. If it wasn't a draw, then Albright won. That put some new wrinkles into the development of Albright that may give Keyshawn some problems, specifically the awkwardness in his rhythm of his punches. It's so strange. It's so weird. He punches when you shouldn't punch at all, yet he does it anyway, and it works out flawlessly. That's how he caught Frank Martin. That's how he gave Frank Martin, even with all the slickness, all the sharpness, all the good ability defensively, he was still getting tagged. Because he couldn't deal with, he couldn't catch the pace. More so, he couldn't catch the flow of when Albright was going to throw. Because he kept getting timed. Because he kept mistiming on the judgment of Albright's movement. His commitment. He stays in the fight too long. And he stops short when you think he's going to fully go through. In terms of Albright, that's how he fights. When he starts his combinations, it's when you think he shouldn't. And when he ends his combinations, it's also when you think that he shouldn't. He'll throw a 4-punch combination. And then all of a sudden, he'll follow it up with another 3-punch. He'll stay on the inside after, seemingly, he should be, okay, your turn is over. And he'll chase you back. He'll throw a looping hook. But it will load up out of nowhere, and you're caught off guard with it. Next thing you know, you get cracked while you're throwing a jab, and you're like, wait, I didn't think it was your turn to throw yet. And he's not uber fast. He's not quick. But he's just awkward. And he's a better fighter people give him credit for. But let me keep on reading what you all's responses are. But even with that, I think we're going to see Keyshawn get knocked out. But I think we're going to see Keyshawn knock out Albright. My apologies. I think we're going to see Keyshawn knock out Albright in this fight. And I'm going to tell you why more so as we keep on in this segment. But let me keep on reading you all's thoughts and opinions in the chat down below. Let me see. Morrell's first fight against Hot Bob was really a warning sign on how he was going to be at 175. For a lot of people, it should have been. I think I brought it up as to why Benavidez was going to beat Morrell. When you look at how they both fought or what gave them trouble in their fights, in their debut at this division, I didn't think it was going to be this bad, or rather this much of a concern beyond David Benavidez as to what Morrell could be in this division. Now, People are starting to say, yeah, I think it's gonna be a mess. Let me see. The return to top ain't got 11. Hey man, look, I'm happy it's back. I'm happy it's back. I want to see it. I want to see it, and hopefully, this is a sign of greater things to come. Brian On returns with a new team. Oh yeah. He is. Wait, hold on. Is that this weekend? Is that this? Hold on. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Wait, hold on a minute. Wait a second. Is that this weekend? Is that this weekend? Are we seeing? I didn't think that was this weekend. Brian Norman. I need to look this up right now. Hold on. Good night. That is this weekend. It's the co-main event. Oh, shoot. Oh, Lord. I ain't know that. I did not know that. Oh, gosh. I thought that was on a separate card. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I thought that was on a separate card. I didn't realize that was on the same night. Well, shoot, we can talk about both of them then in this very segment. I'll make a whole nother title card, and we'll talk about that fight next on our show after this fight, after this whole conversation with Keyshawn Davis and Albright specifically. But let me keep on reading your thoughts and opinions on this Albright fight before we continue forward. He just needs to find some of his skills. We're going to talk about that. Albright's underrated. And again, we're moving forward. We're not going to stay too long. But Albright is going to show how much Keyshawn has grown. Because the first fight with Keyshawn and Albright, I believe Keyshawn won it. He did win it clean. But it was more competitive than many people expected. The first time they fought against each other. I think that was one of the first instances of Albright kind of gaining some, okay, this brother ain't what we thought it was going to be. There's something else there in this opponent in Albright than just a name and singing inside of the ring after he wins. He's got more than just album cover aspirations after he goes in the ring. He got more than a record deal that potentially he wants to have. He can actually fight. He gained a good chunk of respect. Now, in this return against an old opponent with newfound fire, we got to ask, well, if we saw Keyshawn Davis beat in an absolute whitewash situation in his last fight on the ring card. We saw him look great. We saw him look phenomenal. We saw him look like, okay, this is what we thought we were going to see against De Los Santos. This is the world titleist that we expected to see at 135 that people were saying was going to be one of the bigger threats to Tank. And seeing him knock out Jermaine Ortiz had everybody buzzing and saying he's back in the rat race of popularity and all-out interest for the public. True. Now against Keyshawn versus Albright, he's got to put on a devastating performance. It's got to be devastating. It needs to be. That's what I'm expecting. That's what the public's expecting. See, this is the blight of being in this position of status in boxing. After having a dominant win, ending in a KO against Jermaine Ortiz, a fighter who everybody was saying this same buddy gave T.O. some trouble and made a pound-for-pound level talent really have to think. And we saw you handle him with ease in this fight and put him out. Now you got to back that up. And now you got to keep on anybody below that level. People expect you to put on some fireworks and destroy him. People expect you to put on fireworks and dominate him. People expect to go home happy and not just see you knock him out, but knock him out in a way that we all are talking about it for the next week. Similar to Benavidez versus Zerto. I'm not comparing the skill sets. I'm simply comparing Keyshawn Davis' position versus what it was the first time that he fought Albright. Now, people are expecting you to put on not just a show, a dominant show. Because you talked about Devin Haney for so long. You talked about wanting to go up to 140 for so long. You discussed all this stuff about you fighting the best of the best and the baddest of the bad. Which is fair, which is fine. I'm not, no problem. All good. But if you struggle against Albright, the same cat who Frank Martin struggled against, And now I got people rethinking how good Frank Martin is. You don't want that momentum stifled. I want to see Keyshawn Davis knock out Albright in 7 rounds or less. That's what I want to see. That's what I desire to see. That's my conundrum's the wrong word. That's my standard for Keyshawn Davis. Because of the amount of mistakes, or rather the amount of risk that we see Albright take on a consistent time. We see Albright constantly overcommit, and we see him stay in the fire for way too long. Granted, he makes his own fire when he gets in there, no issue. But the fact of the matter is, he's a fighter that at this stage, he is built for Keyshawn to put on a show with and stop. Because of what his mentality is when it comes to boxing, as well as with the grudge match that y'all essentially made against each other. Emotions are going to run high. The wanting to get revenge on both fronts is more than palpable. You can cut that with a knife once they step into the ring. The get back that both of them are trying to get on each other. All 3 of y'all jumped Albright when Albright beat Keyshawn Davis' brother. And Keyshawn Davis' brother got beat up by Albright. And now both of them got a reason. I want to end you. Straight, I want to end you. This is deeper than just, oh, we just going to fight. I want to end you. I guarantee you. If you can keep your emotions in check, you should be able to surgically tear up Albright. I mean tear him up. You should be. This is with me giving respect to Albright. But that's my expectation. If you don't achieve it and still win, I'm not going to be upset. But the public perception is going to shift and change. People are going to be asking a lot of questions. The vying ability of you versus Devin Haney starts to lose some luster if you can't go out and make that statement. I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking. You got to. And I hope he does. If you don't, it could be a scary opposition. What we have with the likes of Keyshawn Davis and the talking about him going forward right now. With all this stuff that he's been discussing and all the stuff, all the fights that he's been saying, we want to see him in. And he's been saying they want to see himself in the ring. But either way, I got Keyshawn Davis beating Albright by round 7. At worst, round 8, but getting a knockout. I do. We don't. It's not going to be no issue on my end. But the public is going to be having something to say. Guarantee you that. But either way, we still have more. We still have more stuff to discuss on our show, like with the likes of not just the main event of the night, but the co-main event. Because we got Brian Itauma Jr. going up in his return, which I didn't realize was on the same night. And now I forgot. I was trying to make a title card while I was talking. I got to make sure we refine a little bit too. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, buddy. Now we cooking with grease. There we go. Well, no, we're not. Wait a minute. No, we ain't. There we go. Brian Itauma Jr.'s return to the ring as we are getting ready for him in the co-main event of the night. Because now Brian Norman, off his loss in a very, I don't want to say damaging, but a very jerking-like loss to the likes of Devin Haney, getting knocked down and getting beat. And as you the killer that we thought you were, all of a sudden got wiped away in a lot of people's minds. This is Brian Itauma Jr.'s opportunity to return to the ring and not just look great, but look different. Because that's the biggest thing about Brian Itauma Jr. We need to see him look different in some regard. We have to. We have at this point, we have to. It's not me trying to go and cast too many dispersions. We have to. He has to look different. Brian Norman has to look different. at this point in time, because not only is he not under his dad, not only is he not under Ronnie Shields, but also, not only is he under Ronnie Shields now as a trainer, but also he is in a position, this is what he got exposed. Boxing can't beat this cat. Real elite work can beat this brother. You have now shown you are limited. That was the biggest takeaway from Devin Haney. It wasn't just there was levels to the game. It wasn't just that, Devin Haney just outboxed you and you took his power for granted and now you the one that got put down. It wasn't just that you couldn't catch Devin Haney. It was the fact that on a fundamental level, you had stifled your growth as a father, as a fighter with your father. And you messed up in your development as a technical fighter. And you are in a position where you need to change. If you want to get back to this top of the mountain, he's got to make his athletic prowess equate not just to knockouts. We know that can happen. He's got to be able to control every aspect of the fight because his body can allow him to do so. But his IQ at this point cannot. It can't. Not at this point in time. His footwork. He does have good feet. I still say that to this day. But guess what? They got to be better. He's got great speed, but guess what? He's got to use it more. He's got to use it more soundly. Defensively, he needs to change in all facets if he wants to get around the basic jab or the elite jab of people in this division, because it can also be a problem for him outside of just Devin Haney. This isn't just a claim or a ploy to make the likes of Brian Norman Jr., he just needs to win and do some different stuff. No, he's got to shift his makeup to maximize his power and ability. Because right now, he can run into the same stuff. I don't think it's going to be against this guy. I don't think it's going to be against his next opponent. That's going to be the thing that exposes him or that reintroduces these same issues of the skills of Brian Norman being not as high as they need to be. But if we don't see a significant development and a real evidential visibility. Actually, let me rephrase it. If we don't see some real evidence inside the ring that he has worked on his stuff, he has worked on being better at cutting off the ring, he's worked on getting around and making his jab more dominant, he's worked on his defense to make it so that he's just not getting caught. He's worked on his reactions so he isn't just letting people outspeed him every single time out. He's worked on being able to chase an opponent without putting yourself in such a vulnerable and repeatable situation where you're throwing the same shot, you're trying the same thing, you're smothering your punches when you get somebody to the ropes. You're not fighting out of the clinch like you need to. You're too late in adapting what your offensive game plan needs to be to go and hunt somebody down. All these things, if you don't change that, we're going to have some problems. We're going to have some major problems. We're going to have some, and it's not going to be problems that you're good enough that you can win this fight if you stay just as you are. I will say that. You're good against Josh Wagner. You're good enough to win this fight just as you are right now. I'm not denying that. I'm saying that if you do look the same fighting Wagner, guess what? It's almost a stamping claim. You most likely won't win another title at 147. And with this current regime of Haney, Ryan Garcia in the mix, looking to get and take all the titles. Right now, you crazy. You will be out the mix crazy enough because of that. Because you have not shown you can change. You really need to. Let me see. He needs to use his athletic abilities to close distance. It's not about closing distance. It's about working when you close the distance. Getting to the opponent wasn't the issue. He got Devin Haney to the ropes. But he took damage getting there. not just the knockdown. He kept eating jabs while closing in. His guard is not tight enough when he's trying to walk down opposition. And when he does go and get his opponent there, if they know what they're doing, he smothers his punches instead of fighting in range or tightening up his shots so that he doesn't overshoot his opposition, and then you now don't know how to work once you get on the tight, close quarters of it as an inside fighter. Brian Norman Jr. His best range is a mid-range fighter, but he can't keep that range even when he gets an opponent where he wants him to be. And if he goes into close range quarters, well, he doesn't know how to throw. At least optically, based on the Devin Haney fight. He doesn't know how to release himself. He doesn't know how to punch without getting himself tangled up if he wants to keep his mid-range prowess. He doesn't know how to fight out of the clinch more than just throwing the shots to the body, more than just the rabbit punches to the ribs or the short shots to the head. I'm talking about in the grapple, you're going through and you're able to get your free hand and land some real thudding shots. It ain't just about you being athletic. It's about you being able to work. All the athleticism, if you can't punch, I don't care how strong you are, you can't do anything. This is why the grapple game is so important in boxing. That's why I love David Benavidez. That's why I love Inoue. That's why I love a lot of fighters. A lot of fighters who give themselves an out. Or rather, they don't just accept the clinch. They go and they find an opportunity to make the clinch work for them. They make themselves available to let their power still shine, whatever those powers may be, even when in an inoptimal range. We've even seen, we saw Caleb Plant do that against McCumbee. When McCumbee was catching him on the outside and in that mid-range area, he couldn't take that power. So he just smothered McCumbee and made McCumbee have to work off the ropes for the rest of the fight. And he ended up stopping. Why? Because McCumbee, with all that power, when he got put in a position where it's close quarters on the ropes or with him putting his opponent to the ropes, he didn't know how to work. He still doesn't know how to work. All that, he should be, McCumbee is one of the most dangerous fighters in this division at 168 in terms of a puncher. I saw him knock down, I don't think it counted, but I saw that brother swing and hit Caleb Plant to the body, and he went back and got put on his butt to the ring post off that power. I saw him land a shot through the guard on Caleb Plant, and it was short, and Caleb Plant was out. I mean, out. For a good, he got up at 8, 9, but he was, for a good 6 seconds, he was done. He was gone. The only thing that woke him up was maybe him hitting the canvas. But if he just floated down, that brother might have been gone. And yet, when it came time to you don't have to chase Caleb Plant down, and Caleb Plant is right there for you to hit, McCumbee had no answer. He had no ability. There was nothing McCumbee could do. Not a thing McCumbee could do, and he got stopped. That's where Brian Norman is right now. He's not as far gone, but he's gone nonetheless when he's not in his range. His athleticism has nothing to do with the issues of Brian Norman. His defense and his opportunities are limited. And by opportunities, when he is really able to let his power shine, he's limited in when he can execute punching with that level of confidence and power. Because either he messes up and overcommits, or he smothers his shots and he can't do anything once you close the distance. Too close. That's the problem. He fixes that, and he better fix that. I'd love to see. That's why I hope we see Brian Norman go head to head with Wagner. Because he's going to get Wagner on the ropes. I better see Brian Norman be able to keep that mid-range area, even when Wagner's on the ropes, by jabbing, probing, making him bite, keeping him on the ropes by walking him, not letting him clinch, and keeping the range and the pressure, and then picking his shots a lot more, setting up stuff, keeping the guard busy and then landing a shot, going through jabbing to the body, stepping back, half step just to make sure he's out but still able to punch like he wants to throw, big hook, and then straight right, and then you stay at range, right in that mid-range area where the opponent can't get out, but you can't get smothered. Usyk does that phenomenally. Phenomenally. Benavidez does that as well. Even though he can operate on the inside, he does that well as well. Being able to keep that mid-range runway open for where he wants to, for what and where he wants to throw. That's what I want to see Brian do. And he better do it. That's why I say if he does that, he can get wagging around in round 7 and have a spectacular KO. He knocked out Jin Sasaki with what? A mid-range hook. Yeah, it was loaded up to Kingdom Come, but it wasn't on the outskirts. He was in the mid-range. Sasaki threw a jab, parried it, stepped in, mid-range, leaping hook. Called him and heard him as Sasaki was trying to exit out. That's where he operates best. If he can't keep that range, you better work on smothering. Or rather, work on how to be an effective inside fighter. Because right now, that's a problem. Let me see. Norman going to come back. I hope he does. Also, Adam Hurley, how you doing? Good to see you. Wait, hold on. Where is it? There we go. Adam Hurley, good to see you. We appreciate you on our live stream for today. And we hope we want him to be successful. We want Brian Norman to come back. Because I would love to see Brian Norman versus the likes of anybody at 147. Him versus Keyshawn. I would love to see that fight. Brian Norman versus Ryan Garcia. I would not be mad at seeing that. Who wouldn't? Especially if he looks good in his comeback. Him going up and potentially getting a title again is incredibly possible. It's entirely possible. Shoot, if we want to see Shakur Stevenson go up and fight Devin Haney at some point, wouldn't be upset if that was the fight before the actual fight. Norman versus Shakur. Shakur's first or second fight up at 147 gets against a real puncher to see how stuff works up here. You beat him, okay, boom, now you're number one contender. You get a shot at one of the belts. And you got to Devin Haney afterwards. I wouldn't be mad at that either. There's a lot of matches that we can see Brian Norman be in that can be dangerous. As in, Brian Norman can bring the danger. But he needs to be a better boxer. Not a better athletic boxer. He needs to be a better boxer. And he needs to learn how to keep his range. Or learn how to fight in new ranges. Because if he doesn't, he's going to run into the same situation and the same problems all over again. But if he does, great. Phenomenal. Absolutely incredible. And I would love to see him thrive and be successful. Absolutely. But we still got more stuff to discuss on this show. Like with even beyond just the fights with Brian Norman and Wagner. And Keyshawn Davis versus Albright. We just had another fight that got announced that I didn't even realize got announced up until 2 hours ago, apparently. We got another fight at 140. And it's against Lamont Roach versus Williams Zepeda. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Oh. Is this real? Wait a minute. I'm reading this live coming across my feed. Let me pull this up on picture so you all can see exactly what's going on. I didn't realize this was real, but I believe this. I believe this is. I believe this is actually real. Wait a minute now. Hold on a minute. Give me a live reporter. We're trying to verify. We're trying to verify. Okay. All right, here. All right, we got it now. So allegedly, we got some breaking news, folks. We got some breaking news going on right now. I didn't hear about this. So I didn't hear any new news about this. But now we got a date. Zepeda versus Roach is happening allegedly on August 1st for the vacant WBC title. So we're into the summer. We're going to get this fight between one volume puncher versus essentially the overachiever, for a lot of people's eyes, in Lamont Roach for a legitimate title. Now, yes, we knew this fight was happening. I just didn't expect to have a date because I hadn't heard of a date of when this fight was going to take place. I just remember talking about this fight may be in the works, but everything kind of went silent from that point. So now, just got confirmed that this seems to be actually going down. If I'm, that's all. I was just surprised that the date was actually happening. So just a quick update on the matter as to what's going on there with that. Let me see. Shakram Gearsov would KO Roll. Oh, you think he would KO Wardley? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he would. Because of the new disciplined Rolly Romero that we're watching now, I don't know if he's nearly as easy to beat as, okay, you can put somebody in there like Giasov or Isaac Cruz, and okay, yeah, they'll put his lights out. Or Ryan Garcia. Though, now Ryan Garcia, I think, yeah, they rematch, he will be rolling. But that list has become a lot shorter for me as to who can actually beat Rolly Romero. And that's crazy to say. Because I've had a litany of hate. And I'll call it hate on my part. From the standpoint of me watching and valuing Rolly Romero as a boxer, as a talented fighter. I didn't think it was all that. But he showed me wrong, which is crazy, but he has showed me wrong more than I thought it was going to be. Which, really, can we actually look back at this for a second? Can we take a pause real quick? Just a quick pause. Did anybody really expect Rolly to get to this level of respectability for his boxing ability that we have him as right now, viewed at by the public? There was a litany of people I would have picked to beat Rolly if it was any other version of Rolly except for now. But all of a sudden, even at 147, yeah, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, sure. You can say Brian Norman, maybe, but even Brian Norman now may not be as much of a given to beat the likes of Rolly Romero for his 147-pound title. It hasn't been like, it's now been just top names that we can see beating Rolly Romero, but I dare say it ain't many. It ain't many. And even those that we thought he wouldn't be able to beat, he did beat him, like with Ryan Garcia. Yeah, he lost the Tank. Yeah, he lost to Isaac Cruz, but he's also a different fighter now than he was when he fought them. Legitimately, they are fighting. Well, Isaac Cruz ain't a different fighter, but Ryan is. But it's a better version of the opponents we've seen Rolly face. Is the only version that we can see beat Rolly. Outside of that, there's not really many people that I can say that I'm confident in. Like uber confident that they could beat him. He's not unbeatable. Be clear. But when I said I gotta give him some respect, I really do. I really do gotta give him some respect. Let me see. Shaquam is a fantastic boxer. Is a fantastic boxer. Great boxing skills. I think he outboxes and stops Rolly late. If he does, that would be impressive. I'm not doubting his skills. I'm just saying now, if he does do that with a Rolly that is more mature in his fighting style and as a person, I would be very impressed. It's no longer that I would just be, oh yeah, you beat Rolly, that's not nothing, no, uber special. Nah. You beat this Rolly. Yeah, I'll say this. This version of Rolly validates anybody on their resume. You beat this Rolly, This breeds a level of validation that previously I wasn't holding Rolly to as a valued name. He is not unbeatable, but doggone it, you got to be really something good to beat Rolly Romero. As shocking as it may seem for me to say. It's the truth. So I'm not doubting that Shock Rom can't beat him. I'm saying if he does beat him, that better breed a level of real respect that gets some people talking. Hey brother, this guy might have some real goods that we may not have expected, because he beat this version of Rolly that his athleticism isn't the only saving grace of his, though it's the biggest thing about his game. This maturity, yeah, this could be something serious. This could be something serious. This could be something serious. Let me see. Shaka is fighting Jack Catterall next week, or excuse me, fighting Catterall next week for the WBA regular title on the Usyk. Oh, so he's gonna be fighting in Egypt. Okay. So if he wins the regular, that would, I assume, put him in a position to get the actual WBA title. And then we could see them, because I believe it's a WBA championship. Then we could see them face off again. Okay, so we're gonna have ourselves. I hope he wins it, because now I want to see that. Because I love having I love having a roulette of players coming into the table as to, we got another threat that y'all got to start taking seriously in this division. And y'all got to start saying, oh my. Oh my. Oh my gosh. Oh shoot. I'm sorry. I didn't. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stop. So suddenly. I just. Oh shoot. This is. My apologies. I had it. I'm not laughing because it's funny. Had a kind of shocking moment real quick. We just got word Memphis Grizzlies center Brandon Clark just died 34 minutes ago. Oh my goodness. Again, I'm an NBA fan. And following Memphis and all that stuff, I didn't realize that. I was just going across my timeline. But good night, 29 years old. Brandon Clark, center for the Memphis, power forward and or center for the Memphis Grizzlies, just passed away. Oh shoot. Oh my goodness. Rest in peace to him, and prayers to his family and everybody connected with him. Absolutely. I again, not trying to stifle the show. That just kind of man, that threw me for a loop. Oh shoot. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that. Ooh. Yeah, that's tragic, man. Again, prayers to him and his family. And everybody connected with the Clark abode. Because that is heavy. Oh my gosh. That is heavy. I do apologize. We'll get back to the show, but just that just came across my timeline. Brandon Clark of the Memphis Grizzlies just passed away as of 34 minutes ago. Causes we don't know. Unknown. But I'm an NBA fan. We covered the NBA on this show. Shocking to say the least. Prayers out to everybody involved. And we'll give you updates on situations as to what happened when we come across. But regardless, we'll continue with this show. Not to negatively pivot, but we'll continue nonetheless. Let me see. Dubois versus Benavidez. Truth, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our show with us today. So happy that you're here with us, joining in on our show, on our live stream. Dubois versus Benavidez. Will we get that fight? I am not exactly sure. Are we going to see Benavidez move up? I don't think next, because he's already said he wants to fight Bivol next. So that fight would be a lofty goal at this point in time. Now, if he all of a sudden says, yeah, I'm going up, give me this fight with Dubois, let me get his title, and then in 2027, like Turkey Al Sheikh said he wants to see, we get Usyk versus Benavidez, maybe that's the timeline that we work with. Who knows? Because all of a sudden, this is throwing a whole wrench into the system of what a lot of people said could potentially be viable. And a lot of people are believing Benavidez may be able to actually pull it out and win, going up against the likes of Daniel Dubois. I think that he is a better fighter than Daniel Dubois. It's just the power and size difference is going to be, just like with Zurdo, more strenuous than we've ever seen. More monstrous than many people believe. And it's going to be the real, like, hey, if he gets stopped up here, I wouldn't be surprised. But if he doesn't, I mean, that would be insane. He can beat him. Be clear, he can beat him. The same things that gave Dubois trouble against Wardley are the very same things that we can see Benavidez giving trouble with, which is speed. Speed, straight up. That speed, Dubois is going to have massive trouble with it. He is. He had to fight his way back into this fight with Fabio Wardley. That hand speed was the very reason why he got knocked down twice. Because it was too quick for him to react to, and he got caught, and he had to go down. But the power is going to be the biggest differentiating factor. But he cannot physically react in time to the speed that Benavidez throws. And I guarantee you, now we're getting into the danger zone of the punches are going to be a lot easier for Benavidez and his defense to get out the way of and react to than what he was dealing with going up against the lighter divisions going up to heavyweight. He has an advantage drastically more once he leaves cruiserweight, even shoot in cruiserweight. Let's be real. Let's be real. Let me see if I can switch my car real quick. But let's be real about it. Let's talk about it bluntly. Since going up to cruiserweight, he is having a bigger gap in advantage of his boxing ability and speed over everybody else than he had at 175 or 168. Y'all think I'm crazy? It's gonna be a lot easier to predict, perceive, and react to the punches of a lot of these big men because of his fluidity and ability as a boxer with a smaller, more speedy frame and outright ability. Especially with this David Benavidez that we're talking about, who arguably has the fastest hands in the entirety of the boxing world. Him, Ryan Garcia, Gary Antoine Russell, Gary Russell Jr. That's the from a speed standpoint, that's what we got. He's up there. And so you doggone right. Like he'll give him a world of trouble. Let me see. Yo, boxing fan, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the show with us today. May I ask if you've seen David Haye fight? I have seen him fight. I remember when he fought against a 7-foot giant. I believe that's the fight that he took the title from him with. So no, similar situation. 200 pounds, 205, speedy brother. Relied on slickness, relied on his ability to blitz the opposition with his hand speed, phenomenal jab, very elusive, great footwork and all that stuff. As a British heavyweight, he was incredible. He was. And what he lacked in the physical frame of the, again, at that point in time was still of the big era where big men were the people that ruled the division. Klitschko being one of them. The both Klitschko brothers, that were one of them, that dominated the entirety of the heavyweight landscape at that point in time. He came through, and he was able to still not just take his claim to be one of the best heavyweights in the world. And so that's a perfect example of why Benavidez can be still successful at heavyweight, even though he's not what David Haye is in terms of as an identity of a fighter. He's trying to put some hurt on you. He's trying to put some hurt on you and do some pain rather than just punch and get out the way. And he got hard. And he got insane combination punch. Ridiculous. And skill-wise, he's one of the top 5 best in the world. At least in my estimation. Let me see. The Devil Dubois will be a nightmare for Benavidez. It can be. It can be. It absolutely can be. But how do I say this? The reason why I say that Benavidez can beat Dubois is more than just the speedy advantage that gets exacerbated between Benavidez and everybody else if he does go up to heavyweight. It's going to be extreme. It's also Dubois punches at the same speed every time. There's no varied game in Daniel Dubois. There's no varied rhythm in Daniel Dubois. The cadence is the same thing every time out. The punch may be different, but there's no different execution. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm saying when it comes to this far apart in a speed diaspora, we're dealing in a fighter in Benavidez who you say he can't get caught, he can't get hit. He's got to worry about getting damage taken to him. That's perfectly fine. He can react to everything that Dubois throws at him. He truly can. He truly can. If Wardley can give him trouble with the hand speed that Wardley has, because Wardley, again, part of the reason why he gasses out so quick is because he throws everything at 100% every time. But that 100% comes out quick as lightning. It does for the heavyweight division. Now, Benavidez throwing 50% can throw faster than Wardley's 100%. He can throw faster than Usyk. He can throw faster than AJ. He can throw and blind you and still get out the way of the shot that Dubois wants to throw in a manner that, for him, it's not going to be stressful. The stressful part is, putting yourself in danger. But we forget when Benavidez gets used to you, like with all great fighters, when they get used to what you bring to the table, it turns into, okay, now all I got to do is just, well, rather, not even all I got to do. It now turns into, okay, straight up, I know what I'm dealing with now. And I can now calibrate my game to go and do what I want to do, because I've calibrated myself to you. And that's what's going to happen if we do see Benavidez win against Dubois. If that fight ever took place, that would be the reason. That would absolutely be the reason. Because the physical advantage in their speed would be that jab. I don't think would be as big of a factor. It's a ramrod of a jab. It's a short jab that definitely is able to go and rock you. Oh, it can. But it comes out the same way every time. Every time. And it worked so well against Wardley, because Wardley doesn't have the skills to be able to adapt and stifle that jab. He doesn't. Mind you, Joe Joyce doesn't have the same skill set as Daniel Dubois either. He was just a big lumbering guy. But Dubois was still faster than him. But guess what? The education of his jab countered whatever Dubois wanted to do and got him to stop because of that. Because he damaged his eye. Benavidez can do that same thing. But even better. At least in my opinion, he can do that even better. But I know it'd be trouble. I would love to see it. The jab is like a power shot. It is. It absolutely is. But it's the danger doesn't equate to the same execution. The danger doesn't equate to the same execution. I'm not comparing David Benavidez to Usyk. There's a reason why Usyk was able to deal with that jab so easily, because there was nothing varied behind it. The use of the jab was the same. I'm coming in, I'm jabbing forward. I'm trying to go and push you back. And eventually I'll try to use that jab to counter your punches, which he did do against Wardley. Great. But it only started working when Wardley was really getting gassed. Or, the past round 4 between the knockdowns. And again, that is y'all even said it on this show, a non-amateur background Wardley got stopped because the better poised fighter with better experience was able to use his tools in a way that Wardley just couldn't get around and could take the punches. But now you're dealing with a better educated fighter with amateur background and a legit experience and pedigree against some of the best in the world, with every skillful advantage in his favor except for the power. Except for the power. You gotta understand. We talk about Daniel Dubois' jab as being a killer, and it is a killer. It can be a killer. Gennady Golovkin also had a killer jab, no question. He wasn't the fastest man in the division. He wasn't the slickest guy in there. Marvin Hagler, similar thing. He wasn't the fastest butt in the division. He wasn't fighting with the style of slickness as his main forte. But the education of that jab was so profound, it didn't matter. Dubois doesn't have that education. He just has the power. Dubois doesn't have that against skillful guys. Dubois doesn't have that education. He just has the power. And the threat's there, no question. But to disrupt that jab or to get around that jab with the lack of education on par with the Benavidez or others that, they really know how to work the most basic punch in boxing beyond just a ramrodding threat and occasionally a countering tool. They can use it in every way. And because they understand that jab so much better, they can get around your jab so much better. Even standing in the pocket. I'm saying that's what Dubois is going to run into if he fights against Benavidez. He and his ramrod of a jab, that stunning shot that can definitely do a lot of punishment. The same punch that broke, that cut out the face and started the beginning of the end for Fabio Wardley. It's not going to work in the same way because this is not Fabio Wardley. The danger doesn't equate to success because the education isn't the same to provide the same execution. That's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm saying. Benavidez's jab got pierced by Plant. Plant's jab was better, more varied, and better educated. We can't equate just straight up, I can punch through your guard as the biggest reason as to why somebody can win. Benavidez Plant was placing his jabs through Benavidez's guard. He was picking through the windows of opportunity. It was a better jab. That same jab was the very thing that was winning him the fight for the first 5 rounds against Canelo Alvarez. We ain't saying Dubois Canelo, are we? But we saying definitely that jab had some varied educational appeal. Yes, it's not as strong, but what did it make up for in that? It was able to be varied. It was hard. It wasn't easy to get around. It wasn't. Again, Joe Joyce is not a great boxer. But Joe Joyce was able to get around Daniel Dubois' jab without doing very much stuff. He was able to. We're not saying jabs won't land. They will. But why did it work against Wardley versus why it won't work against Benavidez? It's because that jab is a one-trick pony. And you can't have that against Benavidez and have that be the only reason why you can be successful. You can't. You definitely can. If you do win. Now again, yeah, sure, you can punch through the guard, you can punch through the jab and do all that other stuff. Absolutely. But we also forget just punching through. Now you run into the same situation of, brother, he's just not quick enough. He just ain't quick enough. Zerto was able to punch through the guard of Benavidez, but the issue was he wasn't quick enough. Or one of the issues, he wasn't quick enough. Even if your jab is so strong, guess what? Every time you miss, you're getting 3 or 4 punches landed on you. And you're using that jab in the same way. You're not mixing up anything. And you will deviate from it. Especially if things start not going your way. So even that tool that you can use, if stuff starts going awry, like we've seen against other fighters like that going up against Benavidez, where their main weapon ain't working because they can't deal with the speed and sharpness of Benavidez, well, now you start going away from that. And now you start saying, okay, we got to start swinging and missing. Big swings, big shots, big hooks, and all that stuff, which can still be dangerous. And it is dangerous because it's Daniel Dubois. It doesn't equate to effectiveness. It doesn't. We cannot look at this fight with Benavidez if we got it against Zerto in the same way as with other heavyweights. This is not him against Hrgovic. This is not him against Wardley. This is not him against these other slower, similar speed type of fighters. It's not even him against Jarrell Miller, who was the first big instance of the evolution. It ain't that. This is the caliber of fighter that brings a closer level of Usyk type skill set than anybody else in this heavyweight division currently outside of Tyson Fury. That's the truth. Or Moses Itauma. The Usyks, Itaumas type of fighters, that is what Benavidez is going to bring to this heavyweight division. Now, the biggest thing against them, yes, is the size. But beyond that, there's a reason why we're saying we want to see Itauma fight against Dubois now. Because we see that brother can easily get around what Dubois brings to the table. Because he's got all these skills and intellect, and plus that raw speed is going to be something that Dubois is going to have a tough time dealing with. Usyk, we understand 2 times over why in the world that ain't going to work, because we know he ain't a better fighter than him, and he's too slow for Usyk. And Benavidez brings that similar vein of attributes as to why Dubois can get in trouble if he fights Benavidez. Because the power is not going to be the only thing that carries him to the day. It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. He's going to need of the Caballero, better shot at beating the likes of Benavidez. Because that speed and work rate, okay, it'll press. It just gives him less time to try to find windows. More opportunities to get to let stuff, okay, big shots land in the midst of a combination if you need to. Inside worker versus inside worker. I can see that happen. Tyson Fury, no question, absolutely. Usyk, no question, absolutely. Itauma, no question, absolutely. We get those. This is not that. This ain't that. I'm telling you, I'm not trying to just overly jump the gun. Though it may sound like I'm not trying to overly jump the gun, but we gotta understand the viability of this ability for Benavidez to beat Dubois and vice versa. It's all predicated on the one thing, which is the power. But the power is not going to be the biggest factor. Not because it isn't there, because it's there. But it's because it's the only factor that Dubois has over Benavidez. That in weight. Everything else, though, he can be outboxed. He can be outmaneuvered. He can be outworked by Benavidez specifically. And crazy enough, he can be stopped. Crazy enough, he can be stopped. He ain't the only buddy. He is not the only buddy that's a big threat in this fight. He ain't. I'm telling you, I promise you. I promise you. He's not the only buddy that's a big threat in this fight. I bet he does not deal with jabs. Well, no, he does. He does. Stuff getting through versus stuff landing flush. It's a different game. I'm telling you, he deal that level of speed. Whenever Benavidez does eat a jab, it's not the yeah sure, it's breaking through, but also he's prepared for it. And eventually, just like with Zerto, just like with Plant, just like with every other fighter he's faced up against, he starts turning their jabs into countering opportunities to where he stops throwing it. That's the thing. He makes you want to stop throwing your punch because that's the very punch that's turning your own offense into your own demise. Y'all forget that. Especially if you're slowed in. That's why I'm saying it's gonna be a challenge. Benavidez does not have Usyk's footwork very flat-footed. Yes, he doesn't have Usyk's footwork. He doesn't. Nor will he. I'm not saying he's going to be moving like that. I am saying in the fight that's going to be, again, same situation like Zerto, Dubois is going to be in front of him. Dubois is going to want to try to work. And Dubois is really going to press the issue. This same story we keep seeing time and time again. And this same story keeps on ending the same way. If you're going to fight like that, you got to bring more to the table than just the one-dimensional aspect to stifle Benavidez, even as a heavyweight. Even as a heavyweight. That's why I'm saying, like, this ain't just size that's gonna beat him or the jab, or he's gonna be in front of him, so he's gonna be able to get caught. It ain't just that. It's a lot more. It's a whole lot more. The slow feet aren't gonna be a huge factor. The only thing unless we see Benavidez gas out because that weight is just too heavy, or the lumbering nature of Dubois leaning on Benavidez slows him down. Even at Dubois' ability to keep up the pace and work rate, he'll still get outworked and get countered all night long if he fought against David Benavidez. And he would also still, without needing to move out the way, counter most of Benavidez's or most of Dubois' work. Dubois would barely have a chance to get started before he gets caught with something. Now, Dubois, as a tank, will punch through the stuff. Don't get me wrong. He'll punch through it. But what's the biggest reason as to why Benavidez is so great? His ability to be responsible in the midst of combinations is amongst some of the greatest in the world. He punches and returns so quick that he's able to keep on the pressure and pace while still being safe. And though I don't like him leaning back, he's able to get away with it because his depth perception is just that good. That, yeah, I'm right here and I can immediately recognize I need to block or I need to lean and then stay right where I am and keep on the punishment. Off the ropes. Guess what? Benavidez can still work and outshine Dubois because he's able to still react, counter, and defend all at a rate that Dubois just cannot move to. Again, in those respects, that's why I say it's like Usyk. We're not comparing the skill, but the attributes are the very thing. He's got all the stuff that gave him trouble against Usyk. He's got all the stuff that made Wardley hard for him to beat early with team trials 1 through 5 when he got knocked down. It's the very same thing. But Leak's more refined than Wardley. Leak's more defined than the rest of the heavyweight division. Just about. Just about. The biggest thing with David Benavidez at this division is power is the greatest weapon that can put him out there. Or that can put him out. And I'm telling you right now, for any Dubois or anybody, if power is the greatest attribute for why Daniel Dubois or anybody in the heavyweight division is able to stop Benavidez, that's not going to be enough. Sure, anybody can get caught. But as a game plan, if your only way to beat Benavidez, if he does go to heavyweight, is I'm going to catch him and I'm going to knock him out. That's the biggest reason why. Because I'm a heavyweight. I'm a real heavyweight. That's not going to be enough to beat him. Because he is on the refinement level, skill-wise, as the current top 3 heavyweights in the world. And again, at this point in time, he's a better fighter than Tyson Fury. There's no debate about that. Benavidez is a better fighter than Tyson Fury. At this point in time, Leak's better. Tyson Fury is, again, big, still skillful, don't get me wrong. All that's still there, but it's greatly diminished. He ain't on the pound list right now for good reason. And skill-wise, even without accolades, we can still say Benavidez is a better boxer. And we always say skills pay the bills. It's never just about punching. What gets that punch to land? For this fight with Wardley, it was attrition. You can outlast him. And then when he gets sloppy, you stay sharp. That's the exact thing that happened that got Wardley knocked out. Just like I said, the game plan was still, I'm going to outlast him. I'm going to take punishment. I'm not going to get out the way of shots. I just got to survive and keep up by the time rounds 8 and beyond come through, and I can get him out of there. Because I can do what everybody else wasn't able to do. Once Wardley gets tired, I can end the show. It wasn't a battle of skill. It was a battle of will. It was not a battle of skill. It was a battle of will. Will and experience. And guess what? Dubois, with all due respect, his will doesn't need to be questioned. No doubt about it. But this is not just a battle of will and experience. This is a battle of skill. Is the third and biggest obstacle in this fight. Because Benavidez is going to have to be skillful to not get caught by Dubois. And can Dubois beat somebody that is truly skilled on the level of the best heavyweights in his regime? And he's better than almost every one of them except for maybe 1 or 2 at the heavyweight level. And I think it's only 1. And that's Usyk. And the answer is no. If he can't beat Fury, if he can't beat Itauma, which I don't think he can, if he can't beat Usyk, and all 3 of them, it ain't power that beat him, it's skill that beat him. And Dubois, in the 2 instances that he stepped up against Usyk, he got put out the same way because he got outboxed and caught. He didn't quit. He got caught and put down because he couldn't box with him. He barely didn't win a round in almost every fight. That's the problem. That's the problem. Dubois hasn't answered that question yet. And that's the question that's going to be asked against everybody else in this heavyweight division. You're doggone right. What Dubois is right now can give everybody a world of trouble. His reign at this division against everybody else except for Usyk, Fury, can definitely be a danger. Even for Itauma, though I think Itauma will beat him. It can definitely be a danger. No question. But Dubois is not those other heavyweights. He's cut from the cloth like the best heavyweights in the world right now. He brings what they have, which the whole reason why Usyk is so successful. Yes, he is an all-time great, but it's also, look at the landscape of the heavyweight division right now. What's the biggest thing that they lack? Speed. and an ability to fight at the level of a smaller weight class. That's what used to run this division. Big guys that can fight small. Now it's big guys that can fight big, and they lost the skill sets. And if they do have the skill sets, they ain't got the stamina. Nobody has the combinations of attributes necessary, like with the Usyk, like with the Fury, like with the formerly Anthony Joshua, to be able to dominate the division. Caballero got the stamina. And that alone has been the thing that has outworked and put him in a position to be in the shot for a title. It's the biggest attribute of him, but still, it's there. But the combination of skill, power, and the ability to have stamina, heavyweights ain't got that. And keeping themselves technically sound, they don't got that outside of a select few. And I'm telling you, that's what David Benavidez has if he comes up to this division. The only thing that he doesn't have as a question mark is the power to hurt a heavyweight. But he got the skills to outbox all of them, even in the pocket. We were just saying that performance against Zurdo was like James Toney. Were we not? And James Toney, everybody's saying he didn't have great feet. He didn't move. Guess how he fought? But it was in the pocket, standing still, blocking and shooting, and being able to outwork, outclass, outshine, and outbox everybody that was in front of him without needing to move his feet. He was in position for you to hit him, and you couldn't do anything. And he still was able to hit you every single time. That's what we see. If we get Benavidez up here, he doesn't need to move his feet. He doesn't need to be in a position that he's got to get out of the way. He's got to be able to move like Usyk. No, he doesn't. Caballero doesn't move like Usyk. Caballero doesn't move at all. Yet he's able, he knocked out Big Bang Jang. And what did he do? He took it to him. The biggest, at that point in time, the second biggest puncher, if not the biggest puncher, because at that point in time, Deontay Wilder was shot. The second, if not the biggest puncher in all of boxing, who for the first 5 rounds, if you get caught by him, you're going down. Caballero went and took it to him. He got knocked down within that 5 rounds, and he knocked him out in round 6 or 7. Why? Because he couldn't, with all the skills, with all the power, Zhang didn't have the stamina, and he got put down. Got put down. Nobody has all 3. More importantly, nobody has the 2, stamina and skill. If you got skill, you can't keep it up. If you got stamina, you're sloppy or you're one-dimensional. Everybody got power up here. That shouldn't even be a factor. Everybody can get caught, and everybody can get knocked out up here. Don't matter who you are. Big Wardley, Joe Joyce. We've seen Usyk get stunned. Tyson Fury get knocked out. Deontay Wilder spun around like a top. Big Bang Jang put down on the ground, sucking for air, can't get up. It don't matter who you are. We've seen everybody in this heavyweight division rock her down. It's not, the power is not a debate. Nobody in this division, except for a couple people, got both. And those that got it, Itauma, Fury, Usyk. That's it. We can't even say Anthony Joshua because we don't know what he hasn't, ever since he lost to Ruiz, he couldn't put it together. And he's still finding himself now because the brother, guess what? He got stamina, he got power, but he got knocked out by Dubois. Why? Because he lost whatever skill he gained when he fought with him with his hands down. Who knows why? Who knows why that was the game plan? But he only got one of the 2. That's what we're saying Dubois can't beat. Or anybody for that matter can beat. They can't beat heavyweights that got legit skill and stamina. Forget power. Legit skill and stamina. They can't beat them. They can't beat them. That's what I'm saying, dude. David Benavidez brings. You can't beat Benavidez because nobody except for Usyk, Fury, and Itauma are as good as he is. None of them. Not Dave Allen, not Hergovich, none of them. Not Johnny Fisher, not Martin Bacoli, none of them. F.A. Jogba, none of them. Gilsov, none of them. So if this was the heavyweight era of old, we could be having a different conversation. This ain't that. This ain't that. I'm telling you, Benavidez is not a force to take lightly. If you think Dubois is going to be able to catch him and hurt him, he may not be able to catch him at all while he's in front of you. And don't let it be that all of a sudden Benavidez has a chin to take Dubois' heavyweight power. Next thing you know, what chance does he have? Biggest thing we were saying about every fight that we've said Benavidez is going to lose. Why was it that we said he was going to lose? He's going to get caught. And every single time he took the power and took it well. I want you to know, if we don't see Dubois hurt and knock out David Benavidez, how does he beat him? How does he beat him? How does he beat him? How? If he cannot use that jab to land the same shots that he landed on Wardley, how does he beat him? A Hail Mary shot? Sure. Wardley had that same chance. And look at what happened when a better skilled boxer with stamina fought against him. He got knocked out. And it ain't even a great skill. It was just skills enough to stay with you. And then just keep the skills I got by the time the later rounds come, so they don't wane. So I don't do anything else. Or I'm not losing stuff when the fight gets late. I'm still keeping all my same abilities. That's literally what's the biggest differentiating factor. I want to know what Dubois can do after that fight ends, when the skills can't pay the bills for Dubois and the power comes obsolete. Just like it did with Zerto, just like it did with Anthony Yard, just like it did with David Morrell, just like it did with David Lemieux. Or anybody that was supposed to be the big puncher to stop the power of Benavidez. None of them, all of them ran into the same issue. Same problem. Same problem. And when it comes to the likes of Dubois, it's going to be the same problem. The exact, mark my words, it's going to be the exact same problem. I guarantee you, Itauma going to stop all of them? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's be real. In fact, we can even go. We talked about Dubois. We talked about Wardley. We talked about Keyshawn Davis and Lamont Roach. We can jump into the championship rounds right now, as we got 30 minutes to an hour to see what you all want to say on the whole of this show. No question. It's still the championship round. But come on. Let's have a conversation. Let's really have a conversation about this. Itauma's going to beat all of them. Most likely. Why? Because he brings something that the heavyweight division doesn't have as a whole. Speed and skill and stamina. Not power. Power can be irrelevant. Speed and skill and stamina. He doesn't lose what he has in the later rounds. He's faster and a better reactor than you are. And he can go all 12. And got skills that are above you. Standing in the pocket, using his feet, blocking and feinting, all that stuff. Heavyweights, almost everybody except for the top 3 don't do that. You can beat him. Or rather, he can beat you. And you beating him would be an upset at this point in time. If we talk about a skill-on-skill fighter. That's what we're saying. And that's the biggest dilemma. That's why Itauma's cut from that type of cloth, because he is built like the cruiserweights, the light heavyweights. Shoot, you can even say the middleweights from the standpoint of fluidity. But what does that matter? Because even if he didn't have half the skill set, it's still enough skills and enough stamina and enough speed. He most likely will still be on the same run. Because those 3 things, most of the heavyweight division just doesn't have at this point in time. That's the biggest problem. Let me see. Pula, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our show today. Salute to you, and we love everything that you got to say on our show. Let me see. Who's your pick for Boots versus Zayas, and why? In fact, that was going to be our topic for tomorrow. We can talk about it right now a little bit more. I got Boots winning by KO against Xander Zayas. I truly do. I do. I got to win it. I got to win it by knockout. And there's been some people I think we got some clips actually that we can show. I was gonna save them for tomorrow, but we can do them now. I can pull them up. We can look at them now. But Zayas is a good fighter. He's a good fighter. There's no question about it. What this is going to show for Boots is the validation of how good his skill sets really are. Because he's a better fighter. When he's locked in, he's a sounder fundamental fighter. And he can mitigate the range and length of Zayas better than people may expect him to. He can. He's going to be able to beat Zayas because I just think Zayas dealing with that type of foot speed and head movement. It's the evasive nature of Boots. If he does choose to legitimately be defensive, like he was against Stanionis, Zayas is going to be like, I can't touch him. Because he's big. He going to come in at 154. He going to probably come into the night of the fight after weigh-in, probably at closer to 170, 180. Have you seen how big that he is right now, cutting weight at this point? As Boots would call it, a fat camp. It ain't fat, he's built. But that brother, that's a big joker, don't get me wrong. But he's going to be confused as to how to touch and deal with the speed and the elusiveness of Boots when he does try to commit to shots. The biggest differentiating factor is going to be the body attack that Boots starts to apply to Zayas when Zayas thinks that he's safe. And Boots ain't just going to be headhunting, going upstairs. And Zayas can go to the body. But the fight with the boss showed me something. You can overwhelm him. You can put Zayas in a situation where there are points in times he feels there's too much going on. Now, you ever felt like you're over anxious or what's the word? Overstimulated? It'll be a hodgepodge of things in the bits that starts to translate and just happen all at once. And all of a sudden the room looks like, things are moving 100 miles a minute. Room starts spinning. You're like, you just want some stuff to calm down. And you just need a breather just to let yourself sit and absorb the moment so you can recalibrate yourself. Zayas can have that at times if you go and not just push the pace, but you make him feel the presence of, I'm not just here to defend my belt or take your belt. I'm here to beat you. And I'm here to put my stamp on this fight. And you got a hot name, but you ain't going to be able to take control. And turns into, all right, I got to dig deeper. And I got to reset myself. This ain't the fight that I thought it was going to be. To that end, we can see Zayas start to be like, oh my, start to get put in a little bit of trouble. Start to get put in a situation where he may not feel not just comfortable, but may not feel as confident. He'll smile. He'll fight through it. No question. He's a champion. Don't get me wrong. But doing that against Boots without the requisite level of talent, he's going to do what he's done against other opposition, which is go through and make you feel like you're in a box that continues to shrink. And you're getting hit with a bat on the outside of that box every single time out, no matter where you go. That's how it's gonna feel. That's how I'm not trying to mess up your ears if you're on the mic, but that level of constant, like, Oh, there's something's coming. Oh my gosh, oh that was something. Oh my gosh, that was something else. Oh my goodness, it's just, everything's coming up with something. I keep something. You see the chaos? You feel it? You feel it? All of a sudden, crowds going, bells ringing, another bang, everything's going. Commentary's going insane. You're hearing it. You feel. It's just like you see the chaos. You feel that? You see how chaotic that feels? You see how much everything starts to blending together? He could fight through it with the boss. But he's not going to be able to do that against Boots. He's not going to be able to do that because he won't be able to he shouldn't. Let me rephrase that. He shouldn't be able to beat Boots on the outside. He should be overwhelmed by the explosive nature of Boots' commitment to shots, and every mistake gets capitalized by Boots is going to take a chance and try to land something. Just the fact that, even if Boots misses on a counter, he can get to that window. Oh my, I got to rethink some things. He should be able to overwhelm the senses of Zayas to the point that ultimately Zayas gets punch shot, gunshot. And now the speed and combinations are able to really take hold, specifically downstairs to the body. And once you start getting too dedicated, guarding the hooks, guarding the uppercuts in the midsection, guarding the stab, jab down low, or the straight right, when Boots wants the level change now, the next time Boots ducks and feints, when Zayas bites, boom, big shot upstairs. And now you're confused. You're unaware. You're scared. And then we get to see him get knocked out. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I think is going to take place. But again, that's just my opinion. Let me see. Johnny Blaze, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our live stream on today. Benavidez punches will just bounce off of Dubois like a Nerf bullet with no effect. I can't say that. I can't say that. Because he's not going to knock him out one-hitter quitter. But he's never knocked somebody out one-hitter quitter. It's always been see, we keep devaluing the cumulative nature of what the punches do. Shakur wasn't knocking out T.O., but it was the culmination of the shots. T.O.'s face looked completely different. Both eyes swelled up, couldn't see. Both of them. We've seen countless times. It's not about just the pop. Oh, he's able to damage you. You can stop somebody strictly by you being able to wear them out, break them down, break their face with the same shot over and over. That's been Benavidez's claim the entire career. The very thing that caused Dubois to quit, rightfully so, because that eye was about to be gone, was the very thing that he did to Zerto. Because he kept landing on the same spot. Just like Joe Joyce kept landing on the same spot on Dubois' eye. It wasn't Dubois' eye. It wasn't Joe Joyce's power that stopped that fight. It was the consistency of the jab. Dubois couldn't. Y'all talk about Dubois landing through his jab. He can land through Dubois' jab with ease. He doesn't need to bounce. It doesn't matter if it bounces off. You throw a ball at a wall, it'll bounce off. Absolutely. You throw that ball at a wall in the same spot so many times, guess what? That wall is going to start having a dent in it. You drive a car on the same strip of concrete so many times, that car is going to start leaving a dent in the road. You start placing the same shot in the same spot over and over for 36 minutes. Next thing you know, it don't gotta be hard to be able to stop a fight. It's gotta sting. It's going to sting. You're going to get affected. You're going to start overcompensating. And then the other half of the face starts to open up. Then another window starts opening because now you're doing too much for one side because these bouncing off shots just wasn't going to take effect. Let me tell you something. If a mosquito bites you enough times, I don't care how small that bite may be, you're going to feel it. A mosquito bite, it ain't number one time, but guess what? You know it's there. Floyd wasn't going to knock you out in the latter half of his career, but the sting of his shots, it didn't need to land to knock you out. When it landed, you knew it landed. And it took effect after countlessly landing. It's not about the power. I keep telling y'all, it's not about the power. If it was only about the power, Benavidez wouldn't be what he is right now. If it wasn't, and if it was about the power, Dubois would have knocked out Usyk and finished the job of the shot to the body that he landed to Usyk in that controversial situation in their first fight. And with a better boxing ability, because he was a better boxer by the time he faced off Usyk the second time, his power should have really been able to take hold and stop Usyk that time. But it's not about power. It's not just about power. It's not. Let me see. Yaffe has been moving fast. No, he has. He absolutely has. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do. This guy might be unified champion in only 11 fights. Nah, he can be. I hope he is. Like, I'm high on Yaffe. I hope he becomes a champion early. I do. I hope he does become a champion early. Because him being a champ would be incredible. And it'd be so young. What do you say? The champ gets 30%. The champ may get a target on their back, but they get 30% better. I would love to see Yaffe 30% better than he is right now. With that title on the rounds weight, you're doggone right. I would love to see that. Let me see. Is good main event because Smith got hurt and Puello fight got canceled? Yeah, no, it is. It is. This, and since it's a main event, it can be a coming out party. It can be a all eyes on me situation, similar to Abdullah Mason. When Abdullah Mason had his title shot, not title shot, but had his fight elevated to the main event after we saw those situations with Keyshawn Davis. Let me see. Who would you pick in Boots versus Fundora or Boots versus Ortiz? Is Boots the best at 154? So the best in terms of ruling sentiment is Fundora. The most talented fighter is Boots Ennis at 154. I don't think there's a better talented boxer than Boots at 154. However, him versus Fundora is a harder fight than I initially thought after seeing what Fundora was able to do to the likes of Keith Thurman. Even though Keith Thurman is nowhere close to the level of fighter that we see Boots as when it comes to boxing and the talent at this stage and point in time. Virgil Ortiz versus Boots is the closest skillful fight that we have in this division from a talent perspective. Boots versus Ortiz. I said I think Boots could beat Virgil. But I also said that's as close to a 50-50 type of fight as we can garner. But I'm slightly, and I mean slightly, leaning towards Virgil Ortiz. Fundora is not a better fighter than Boots Ennis. He's not. But Fundora is built in dimensions that can beat Boots. He is the Tyson Fury paradox. Tyson Fury is a good heavyweight with elite size. He has good skills that for his size, it shouldn't exist. Moving and operating the way that he does. But again, he wasn't the best mover in this division. That was Usyk. He wasn't the best skillful boxer in this division. That was Usyk. As a fighter, he was not the best in that division. That was Usyk. However, his size coupled with a skill set that was good, which should not belong in that type of body, made him that elite. Fundora is a fighter with all-time level size at this division at 6'5", at 154 pounds. That's all-time caliber athletics. That's attributes that you would hear about in a dream. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. Like, that's some creative character type of stuff. That should not exist. But he is a good fighter at that size that makes him so hard to beat. The size being the biggest differentiating factor. Because nobody at that height should also be able to be that good of an inside fighter. Yet he is. And now he's actually learned how to use his jab. That brings a different dimension of, okay, you're essentially fighting a heavyweight level frame at 154. How do you deal with that? That's the more volatile fight. I still pick Boots, but that brings a whole nother land of questions. That goes over just, oh, he's big, he's bad, and he'll slice through you with his hooks or straights. Now it's like, your skill, can your skill outweigh the monstrous frame of the likes of Fundor? And if yes, then yeah, you can knock him out. And I think he's that good. I think he's that good. He's going to need to be. But yeah, because Fundor is not a better fighter than them, but that frame just makes for a different type of, the things you have to do to win that fight are so unique that it's for some people it may be harder to feasibly say, man, I don't know how to beat this cat. Even if I'm a better fighter than him, I just don't know how to beat him. Because like I physical limitations may just take hold. But in this situation, for somebody like Boots, who is so far and away one of the greatest athletic freaks of nature that we have right now, getting comparisons to the likes of Roy Jones Jr., even by Roy Jones himself, he's got the athletic ability. Yeah, he can take Fundor out. How he does it, he's going to have to be able to slip, roll, and get inside of the long jabs and the long arms of Fundor without getting set up with a hard shot. But he can do it. And if he does do it, oh yeah, he's got it. It's a long way for me to say. It's a long way for me to say. Ortiz is skill and power and all that stuff makes for a closer, competitive type of fight. 50-50 affair. Fundor, that height is such an X factor, it's going to be hard to stop. However, if that height ever gets negated, he's food. That's the thing. If that, with Ortiz, he's got more in his bag that if you take away the distance or the jab, or you take away the left hook that he loves to throw, he's got other weapons. If we see Fundor get beat and the height isn't the biggest factor, all of a sudden now we turn into, okay, what else you got? You got inside work. He can work on the inside, but he's not a better inside worker than Boots. He's not. He's not a better fighter than Boots Ennis when it comes to in the pocket in range. He's not faster than him. He ain't got no other answer. There's no other answer if that height ever goes away. So you get around that big roadblock, oh, it's cooked. The question is, can Boots do it? With Ortiz, it's a lot more Rubik's cubes that you gotta swirl around trying to figure out how to beat it. That's the thing. For Fundora, the wall is bigger, but if you get around the wall, yeah, you will take over the kingdom and you will destroy it. Ortiz, the wall may not be as tall, but doggone it, it's a lot more fortified with extra layers. That's going to be a lot harder to break through one and then still have the same success against the others. Because there's more defenses to the bag. That's the thing. Let me see. Yo, Super Saiyan, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our live stream on today. Salute to you on this Thursday afternoon. We're in the championship rounds right now. Keep on liking the stream. Keep on sharing the show. We still want to hear your thoughts and opinions on everything involving the world of boxing and beyond. Salute. Haven't seen a good heavyweight fight as good as Wardley versus Dubois since Wilder Fury 3. Yeah, man. Look, that fight was... I said this at the start of the, we covered this at the start of the show. That fight was the best fight of the last 5 or 6 years since Dubois or since Fury versus Wilder. That trilogy fight. There wasn't anything better. It was everything. It's crazy enough. It surpassed what my expectations were for what that fight was going to be. And I said it before. Fabio will be back. Dubois now has answered questions about his heart, about his will, and about his commitment to really not letting himself lose on an opportunity to be great. When people have said, you faltered before, you'll do it again. So it answers questions for both of them. So I'm excited for that. Let me see, Fondora, Boots, and Virgil definitely need to be fighting each other. Wouldn't mind seeing Jermell coming back to put himself in the mix too. Don't put himself in that mix. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. 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 Don't do that. Don't do that. Because if you do that, that's going to be pop. He ain't ready for that yet. I need to see Jermell fight first against anybody before I can put him in that ranks. Afterwards, sure, we can have a conversation. But as of I can't put Jermell at the door. Yeah, it would be fun to see him there. I can't put him there until he shows me something. If he does show me something, great, phenomenal. But amongst these names, yeah, they need to fight. And I believe that they're going to fight. I do. I truly do. That's why Zayas and Boots, that kicked off a lot of stuff. Zayas and Boots, Fondor Thurman, Sue versus Boachuk. Now, Sue versus Bakram. We're seeing like the division start to shake up. Shoot, Boachuk just got beat by Shane Mosley Jr. This division is moving now. It's moving now, which I've been waiting for Lord knows how long. Let me see. Oh, so you got nobody beating Benavidez is what you said? No. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Dubois. I don't think Dubois will beat Benavidez. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying it's going to take caliber of fighters like an Usyk, Fury, hopefully we find AJ to be able to beat the likes of Benavidez if he goes up to heavyweight. Caballero, also another name, he can beat him. Big Bang Jang for the first 5 rounds, he can beat him. I'm not denying. There are people that can beat him, yes. Itauma, he can beat him. At heavyweight, yeah, heavyweight's the most vulnerable. I am saying, what I'm saying is, the reason why I don't think Dubois can beat him, is the default reason as to why everybody says he's going to get beat. He's going to get knocked out. I am saying there are not enough, or the amount of skillful boxers up here at heavyweight that bring the level of skill sets that we see Benavidez bring to heavyweight, if he does fight at heavyweight, are not very much. And the size discrepancy of what exactly it's going to take is not the same. Because just like with what we've seen with the skills and the smaller fighters in the heavyweight division taking hold, like the Caballeros, like the Itaumas, like the Usyks, like people want to say Richard Torres is going to bring to the table. I don't believe it with Torres yet, but still, they're talking about it. The skills of smaller fighters coming up to a division of giants, when those skills aren't what pay the bills up here. They're paying the bills for them. And they're being the kryptonite for these other boxers at heavyweight division that don't have that same combination of skill and stamina. Power, everybody's got power. I'm talking about skill and stamina. You either got one or the other, you ain't got both. It's either one or the other, you ain't got both. And outside of those names I named, and maybe two more that I'm missing, Justice Honey, he was beaten up. He dominated Fabio Wardley. He would have been in the first. If it wasn't for him getting caught, he would have beat him. Straight. He would have beat him. All he had to do was back up, and he would have beat him. The Hail Mary shot. But again, when you get a skillful fighter at this heavyweight division, we keep on seeing it time and time again. If you win by the skin of your teeth because you landed the shot. But if you don't land that shot, you lose because you're not built like that. You're not a better fighter than the other person who's got better skills than you at this division. Because it's been height makes right. Might makes right. Power pays all. And size the land of giants. And all of a sudden you get somebody that got some mobility. Next thing you know, he's shaking up the heavyweight landscape. Oh my gosh. Why do you think Moses, we don't think anybody can be Moses? I don't think anybody can be Moses. That isn't Usyk. Why? Because of the fact that he is what Usyk brings to the table. Or brings the same, or not the same. He brings a similar moniker of skill, fluidity, mobility, and technical ability that the majority of the heavyweights, they can't garner, and he can go for 12 rounds. We haven't seen it because he keeps on knocking everybody out. We haven't seen him tired. We've seen him throwing in volume. We've seen him keeping the pace. We've seen him darting in and out. We've seen him being slick, making people miss. All this stuff that we don't see heavyweights do a lot today, especially past round 6, but he's able to do it with these. Those are the attributes that Benavidez will be bringing to the table. And I'm not about to go against what I've seen with track record and what I know about Benavidez, but are you going to be in trouble if you fight against him if your only saving grace is, I'm going to catch him? That's what the majority of the heavyweight division is. I'm going to catch you. And for Usyk, it was the same thing when he came up here, when he fought Derek Chisora, when he fought Dillian White, even as a cruiserweight champion. People kept on saying, hey, brother, this cat, you can't stand up with the big boys. Oh, my gosh. AJ's going to knock you out. Tyson Fury is too big for you to beat. Dillian White is too strong. Derek Chisora, he's too much of a warrior. He's going to go and break you down, break you up, absolutely bum rush you, maul you. And look at what happened every single time. Every single time. I'm not putting him in the same caliber as Usyk in terms of Benavidez. I am saying that is the same blueprint is happening again with a fighter that brings tools that heavyweights today don't have, that they can't compete with in the current landscape of skilled talent outside of the current champion in Usyk, Tyson Fury, Moses Itauma. Caballero you can also put there too. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Let me see. If Fabio tightens up his defense while punching, especially during the jab, he'll be exceptionally harder to deal with. Yes, he would. He absolutely would. Again, he's learning on the job. He said it himself. I hope he does. I pray that he does, because he can be a big problem. You saw what that speed was doing to Dubois early in the fight. He couldn't deal with it. He couldn't react to it. Literally, he could not react to it. It wasn't until he got tired and the technique and defense started to really fall apart, and the reliance on his chin that he's done every time out started to become more prevalent. That's what lost him this fight. That's what lost him the fight with Justice Honey. That's what's had him in these big-time Hail Mary wars every time out. If he tightens that up, sure, he can be so much better. I would love to see that. But the question is, will he be able to? I think he can. But it's going to have to be a really dedicated effort. It's going to be a really dedicated effort, and I hope he does do it. Let me see. Benavidez better stay an astronomical unit away from the heavyweight division. I'm telling you, I'm perfectly fine with people saying Benavidez should stay away. I think he can be there. I said it's not the question. I'm standing by it. I know for a fact he can compete in the heavyweight division. Not with Usyk. Not with Fury. But with the rest of them, I strongly believe he can do what he needs to do. I'm going to ask you this. If we saw him beat Jaya Pataya instead of Zurdo Ramirez, would the perception of his viability at heavyweight change for you? Legitimately. I ask that as a genuine question. If it was Jaya Pataya that we got to see in that fight with Zurdo, and he did that same thing, would you be more on board with, okay, yeah, he can deal with heavyweight? Because it feels like that is the biggest barometer, that because it wasn't Jai and it was Zurdo Ramirez that this happened to, Benavidez's skills are absolutely there. They are set in stone. The disrespect isn't coming there. But the ability to go up and thrive above at the biggest division in boxing, that still is not on the radar unless he had beaten the perceived baddest puncher in the land at cruiserweight. Then, okay, you can definitely take the power because Jai punches like a heavyweight, and you got the skills that these other people at heavyweight don't have. Okay, you can definitely go up there and take it. Is that what is holding this sentiment back, that Benavidez can fight up here? I want to hear from you all. Let me see. Bud or Boots, how would that have played out? Oh, no, Bud would have beat him. Bud would have beat him. Bud would have beat him. Bud would have absolutely beat him. Bud would have beaten Boots Ennis. If they had fought, if Bud had been in a closer proximity, as in at 147, had moved his career quicker along so that he was in a better position to be in the midst of the Boots, Spence, whole diaspora, and actually moved up to 154 early, and we ain't got to see them both prime for prime against each other, oh no, Boots would have lost. Boots would have absolutely lost. He would have lost. Now, it would have been a phenomenal fight. It would have been a phenomenal fight. Phenomenal fight. No question about that. But Boots would have lost that fight. Boots would have absolutely lost that fight. It would have been a unanimous decision. 115, 113. It would. I can almost assure you it would have. Because as a thinker, Boots ain't at Crawford's level. He's not there. He's still too complacent with what style he wants to do. He's adaptable, but he's not maximizing that adaptability. He hasn't needed to. He's been so good. He's fundamental, but we've still questioned, why aren't you not doing all the right stuff when you need to do it? Because he's still learning that level of discipline. IQ, he's a phenomenal thinker. He can be incredibly imaginative, but still to some degree, not saying he isn't entertaining because he knocks people out and all that stuff. We get it. Absolutely. There is still the application of that imagination has still yet to be fully unlocked, which, because he's still developing. Understand him. He's just not with the thrones of the real prime opportunity of his career against the biggest of dogs. Understandable. We get it. I'm not denying it. But I'm simply saying he was at that point in time, I wanted to see that fight. That fight should have happened. He wasn't ready for it. As a fighter, as a boxer, he wasn't ready for that. Not yet. If he had gotten into this situation where this level of championship experience, what the Zayez's, fundors or people like that were on his resume, then I would have said, okay, yeah, lot closer of an opportunity. But the fight would have been incredibly entertaining. But no, he would have lost that fight. What he's going to turn into after Xander Zayas is going to be the fighter that would have been able to beat Boots. Or excuse me, it's going to be the fighter that would have been able to beat Butt. The fighter that Jaron Boots Ennis, I believe, or excuse me, the fighter that we're going to see Boots turn into after Xander Zayas, if it does indeed come out that he evolves like I think he will evolve, that fighter will be the fighter that would have been able to really take it to Terrence Crawford and potentially beat him. Within this next year, we're going to see the Boots that needed to actually be had to beat Terrence Crawford. But that Boots is going to look sensational. I think that evolution starts with the Zayas fight. But he wasn't there yet, skill-wise, at that division at 147. Even if he had gotten the fight, he wouldn't have been ready. He wouldn't have been ready. Not for that. Not for that. No, not for that. It would have been, dang. Youngblood just didn't have you couldn't outthink him. And that sixth gear, he wasn't prepared for it. After Zayas, I think he's going to get a sixth gear of his own. And the full evolution of Boots, I think, will then translate. And that Boots, you can come back and ask, okay, now what would that fight have looked like? And I can answer that a little bit better, at least for me. Let me see. And Legendary Super Saiyan, I agree. Bud would have had too much experience in every pass of the fight. Yeah. Oh, because notice, he would have fallen. He would have taken it seriously, but he would have fallen into the same habits that he fell in with Avanesian and with Shukajan. If Shukajan got you frustrated, Terrence Crawford's going to have you want to quit. If Shukajan had you annoyed, Terrence Crawford's going to have you pouting in the corner with, my gosh, I just can't do what I want to do. I can't. That's what's going to be a problem. That's going to be an issue. I promise you. That's going to be an issue. Let me see. Need to see Benavidez versus Jai Bataille before anything else. We do. No question, we do. And again, with the whole situation with Zuffa, Shakur, Devin Haney, which again, we are going to discuss that whole, the ruminations of Devin Haney and Shakur and Zuffa potentially actually being a real thing is starting to amp up more and more and more and more. It's my gosh, it's going to be a barn burner if it does ever take place. It's just a matter of will Dana White actually make that stuff happen? That's more than anything. That's the biggest question. But I would love to see that fight. I really would. I really would. I hope that they make a deal with the likes of DAZN. So you come to their side of the street, you fight under their promotion, and we get that fight going. If you beat Benavidez, you bring the belt back to Zuffa. Next thing you know, all of a sudden now Zuffa has a legitimate champion who beat the legitimate champion. They got validity. That may cause them to actually say, okay, yeah, we ain't going to strip him this time. Because now, that's some serious level of weight. But if we ever did get to see that fight, I think Benavidez is going to win. But it's more important about how the public's reaction to what Jai Apatai's power does to Benavidez is going to launch a litany of conversations by how effective or ineffective it was. That's going to be the story of the fight. More than anything. This time it was just, the size, bigger division. Yeah, Zerto can potentially do something to you. Absolutely, which is true. But for Jai, if Jai's power is rendered ineffective, the same thing I asked for Dubois, I asked for Jai Albright. What do you have in your bag? Because he's not a better boxer. What do you have in your bag? And we see that Benavidez takes and or nullifies Jai's power and pop, and Jai doesn't have anything else. If you think what I'm saying is conversations are nasty, just wait. Not for me, from the public. Just wait. Just wait. Because just like I said with Benavidez afterwards, after the fight with Zurdo, the conversation after that fight with Zurdo Ramirez, I told you, if it happens, watch what's going to be said the Monday of the Monday after the fight, the weekday after the fight, and look at what happened. Look at the conversations. Usyk immediately. Can he beat the heavyweight? Nobody. He's better than Canelo outright. He's top 5 in the world. He's top 4 in the world. Can't nobody stop him. Oh my goodness. He may have the fastest hands, some of the fastest hands, not in this era in boxing history. He's my favorite fighter now. He is one of the 4 faces of boxing. That was the reaction after Zurdo. A fighter that, with all the talent and all the accolades, wasn't really known. You let him knock out Jai. Let him beat Jai Albright. And watch what gets said. What? Cleaning out the division. Cleaning out the 2 biggest heavy hitters in his first fight. Let him do that and watch what gets. You think what I'm saying is insane. You think what I'm saying is crazy. Watch what happens if Jai beats him. Or if Jai gets beat by Zurdo. Excuse me. If Jai gets beat by Benavidez, watch what's going to be said. Y'all think I'm insane. People gonna be jumping on the same bandwagon. People gonna be saying the same thing. People, if you don't say it now, you're gonna be thinking it. It's all of a sudden gonna creep into your mind. Okay, this may be real. Maybe heavyweight really ain't got but 3 people that can stop this man. Maybe. Daniel Dubois is feasible for him to beat if you don't feel it now. I'm telling you. I said it after that fight. Being a world champion, that is completely in the cards for Benavidez at heavyweight. And if he beats Jai Albright, everybody that may think differently, I promise you, they will be the first or one of the first to come in and say, you know what? Not to prove, no, I'm not trying to say I told you so. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen. That's what happened last time. That's what happened the last time when we were talking about this whole situation. So it's going to happen again. At the end of the day, money talks. If Zupa is paying the most money, that's where fighters are going to end up going at the end of the day. And look, we want to save this for Friday because good gosh, we almost at 3 hours. We do want to say this because this is a big talking point for Friday's show. Zuffa, a lot of conversation with Zuffa. A lot of talks with deals with deeper perception with Shakur, Devin Haney, and other fighters wanting to get signed. Some sound bites with Dana White and others. I wanted the whole day to talk about that because it's a lot. But that fight, or rather that whole brand, the question isn't the immediate. It's the long term. Because I'll play one of the clips that I was going to play when it came to, if I can find it. There's a clip of, was it Garcia talking about signing with Zuffa? Hold on. If I can find it, I'm going to play it for you because it is important. They might have taken it down. I'll talk through it. If I can't find it, I'll talk through it. Perfectly fine. Robert Garcia, one of the other trainers, in reaction to, I believe it was Robert Garcia, but if it's not, please fact check me. But in reaction to hearing the news that Devin Haney may be getting a $100 million deal and it may be signed with Zuffa, his response was, paraphrasing, yeah, that's great. We want fighters to get the big paydays. We want fighters to get the big fights. And if you can get it and you can get that much money, go for it. Absolutely. That's what we're in this game for. That's what we're trying to do. That's our goal. And more power to them. Get the money now. I think now that last part's a quote. Get the money now. Go get the deal now. That is the current iteration of a lot of people. And again, we're going to be talking about this Friday more often or more in better detail. We got to end the show. But that's going to be more prevalent. With that being the case, we're talking and saying, how does that affect the future? Because if they fight and they do it now, yeah, they're getting their money. Absolutely. But the concern for what this sport can turn into, when we just got DAZN, Top Rank, Quisenberry, PBC, Matchroom, all 5 of the big players under one umbrella, working with each other. And now this outside source comes in, and all of a sudden they're throwing money around, and fighters are signing with them. And if they get their way in terms of Zuffa, it's going to be the same UFC model. That might be problematic, especially if the stuff with the Ali Revival Act passes. The identity of the boxer to make that money going forward may not be available anymore. And though it isn't the clip with Robert Garcia that I was looking for, Roy Jones Jr., I think, puts this in the best way possible with what his reaction to all this stuff. Now, again, viewer discretion is advised. And some stuff I'll put some more context to. There's some of the stuff I don't agree with, but the whole of the message, I think, is the biggest problem for what can potentially happen. But I'll play the clip, but let me read you all's responses first before I go and play. We just need Turkey to keep forking out stupid sums of money and cash to force the actual needle to move. Yeah. I mean, at this point, that's what started to run. But now, it can be that the fighters just self-sustain themselves and the promotions see, okay, it is easy to work together. And now Turkey can still, I'm fine with Turkey being in the sport, wanting to push for the fights. But it's also, if he's the only person that's keeping us here, if anything flips up and he leaves, well, that stuff is done. Live Golf just shut down. Live Golf was supposed to be the overarching taker of the PGA. And now everybody who signed with Live Golf, well, it's done. Jobs, money, opportunity, whatever the case may be, all of that. They tried to sign Tiger Woods for $800 million. They signed, I think, Roy McIlroy for $100 million plus. All these other contracts were working with Live Golf, and now it's shut down. And the immediate oversaturated the future, and now the future, a little bit up in the air. That same thing can happen in boxing. That's the thing. Let me see. I don't see Benavidez beating Mark Brindis. I'm telling you, I don't think it's out the picture. If whatever you don't think that can beat Benavidez, I have no issue with. None. I just know I can put out my debates for why I think he will be able to go and conquer some of these names. It's going to be tough. But he definitely has the skills to be able to do it. Let me see. If Benavidez beats Ja, he will have left no doubt in my mind at that point. He'll be that guy. And yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. I do feel you. And for a lot of people, again, your concerns should be fair. I'm not diminishing them, because you have a valid reason to feel, yeah, people are jumping the gun, myself included, for why heavyweight can be a real thing for the likes of Benavidez. I feel how I feel. I'm just giving my thoughts and opinions. I'm just trying, again, we want this discourse. We want the opposite side of whatever aisle you may sit on, because it breeds great conversation. This is what sports about. The whole intrigue, the debates, the discussion, the questioning, bringing up your points, getting yourself amped up saying there's no way he can do it, or absolutely he can do it, and pushing back and forth. But it's like we're fighting right now, but in a good way. Not in a bad, in a good way. In a good way. This is good. We like this. But those types of wins would help to shelve a lot of concern because the proof's in the pudding. Anything about Boots being great is going to come at the Zayas because the proof's going to be in the pudding because he hasn't had the experience. He hasn't been at this level yet. And once he gets that level and beats a level caliber or a caliber fighter at this quality of skill, all of a sudden for a lot of people that say Boots ain't all that, they're going to be saying Boots is all that. It's going to happen. Like they get in the fight, tells the story. Almost every time. Some cases that is a little bit different, but the fight normally tells the story. Okay, hey, you answered what we needed you to answer. And now we can revamp the conversation. But as we before I forget, because I want to make sure that I'm actually giving you what I said I was going to give you as we get ready to end off this show. This is going to lead into Friday. But this clip of Roy Jones Jr. talking about Zuffa and the potential for all these fighters signing with them and the problem that could potentially arise from it is going to be a discussion that we're going to have on Friday. And this will be the last thing before we leave. But this may bode true for some stuff as to why there's a concerning factor as to the money that's getting thrown around for Zuffa specifically may not be good for this sport in the long run because of what it can do to potentially hurt the public or the ability for fighters to make money after all these big contracts gets pushed out and Zuffa becomes the norm. Because everybody ain't going to be able to make that type of money. And it's going to be quelled potentially. But I'll let him tell you exactly how he feels as we transition over. And to picture, so let's say you see what Roy Jones had to say.
About talent and winning no more. It's about who they want there. And that's what they're trying to do the boxing. I'm sorry. That's not right. I don't care who you are. Talent, skill, hard work, all those things should determine who's the best. And you should have an opportunity.
I'm going to restart it because it started out low and I couldn't get the volume right.
It's not about talent and winning no more. It's about who they want there. And that's what they're trying to do the boxing. I'm sorry. That's not right. I don't care who you are. Talent, skill, hard work, all those things should determine who's the best. And you should have an opportunity to get a shot at the best if you want the best. Not have to kiss their ass to get the best, but they got total control of it. You got to kiss their ass or you can't fight. You got to move out of the country. That's right. That's what we want to see in boxing. No, it's not. But that's what's about to happen. And they too idiotic to understand that. Most of the people around too idiotic to understand what's really happening. They don't understand. By the time they get it, it's already too late. It's almost too late now. Nico understands, that's why he went there. Oscar understands, that's why he went there. But most people in boxing don't understand. They see a few money, oh, that's great money. No, it's not. It's great money now. It's not great money tomorrow. History's going to be erased. There's going to be no such thing as WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO champ no more. Chance Crawford was known for being the four belt era champ more in 3 weight divisions. That's going to be gone now. No such chance to do that anymore. And that's what we want in boxing. So we're going to kill the history to make it look like UFC? Not make it out of there with that. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
And so that type of anger, excuse me, I had to step away from the camera because I thought someone was on the floor. But that type of anger, that type of frustration, that type of rhetoric bodes true. Now, granted, like I said, we're going to discuss this on Friday. We had 3 hours. We ain't trying to go, didn't mean to go too far over. We went over. That's my fault. That's my apologies. But still, had a good pace, and then we started. We went. We just went. It's what we do. Like I said, we capitulate to the power of the people. But we'll have a lot more time to talk about it on tomorrow. But the biggest thing that you just have to understand, his anger is derived from where the power of the fighter gets potentially nullified under Zuffa. Trying to turn it into the UFC model, I've said this countless times before. TKO specifically. Turkey may want the boxing thing to be the actual boxing thing. And the way he's moving in boxing without Zuffa has been good. I'm not trying to kiss up to nobody. I'm not paid by nobody. I'm just telling you what's been happening. And without Zuffa, Turkey has been great. Dana White and Turkey are not the same person. Turkey wants the sport to grow. Absolutely. Undisputed history, all that stuff. He does value it from what I've seen. TKO and Dana are completely different. Specifically Dana. Dana wants the brand to be the brand. And the brand is John Jones is not John Jones. John Jones is the greatest UFC fighter ever. Not MMA, UFC. Conor McGregor outgrew the UFC. Dana doesn't want that. Dana wants you to be big under his umbrella. We're the league. We are the power, not you. The reason why the Zuffa belt is so significant is because the Zuffa belt is what is wanted to be replacing of all the other belts. That in the ring. Because the ring ain't going to be replaced. But, yeah, they're calling it development. They want other fighters to graduate up to higher rankings so you can transition over into the Ring magazine. Rankings of boxing, top 10 and all that stuff. That's what they started off with saying. But now the talks and rumors of signing Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson to fight on them, that's not young talent. That's established stars. Jaya Pattaya, established star. Conor Benn, established star. Trying to build a roster of champions that hold the gold. So Conor Benn doesn't hold the gold, but other champions like with Shakur and Devin Haney, if this does happen, champions that hold the gold that give you validity, so that they can go and hold the Zuffa belt as we got the champ who beat everybody else here. So we are the belts that matter. Rather the belt. We're the organization. You're not by yourself. You are under us. A Zuffa fighter is the top 10 pound for pound in the world. A Zuffa fighter just beat the unified champion. So that would mean that the Zuffa belt is the championship belt. So now the championships don't need to happen. And I'm against Roy Jones in this one regard. They want to get rid of the IBO, IBO. They want to get rid of the IBO, WBA, WBC, and the IBF belts. Zuffa does. Dana White does. That is true. We have discussed, however, we want there to be one champion and one belt in the division to make it easier to follow and to give it even more weight as to there's one man to rule them all. Like it was back in the day. We have been an advocate for that on this channel and other channels as well. However, going about it in this way, yeah, it's a problem. The goal is the same, but the execution is the issue. We've said that countless times about trying to make this one belt regime a possibility. Because it is what the sport does best when it's at its best, have one man rule them all. But if you do it wrong, yeah, what Roy Jones said is right. You can go and erase the history of what was. No matter how much you try not to. You can erase it. You can change it. You can devalue it. Because you're trying to make it obsolete. Because you're not implementing their legacy into your belts. You're trying to start a whole new legacy where everything that happened before is now gone. They can try to say that's not the case. That is the case. They can say we'll never disrespect the Ali Act, or we'll never disrespect Muhammad Ali or anybody that came before us. I guarantee you they will. It'll go. They'll start bringing it up less and less. They'll start branding new legacy. They'll start making new lineages that are separate from the rest. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a problem. This is what Zuffa is doing is not what they're advertising from what I'm seeing. And they are trying to change the sport so that they are the sport. There's a difference in trying to change it to where you're in the sport. They are the sport. The UFC is the sport of MMA for abundance of people. That brand is the sport. The NBA is the sport for basketball. However, what's the difference in the NBA and in the UFC? The NBA has actively tried to make it a global game and has accepted and merged the lineages of other leagues into their own to give their league and the sport credibility. They merged with the ABA. They applied the championships and points of players into what happened in the NBA and ABA careers into one big career. They've given the respect and upholded the lineage. They have kept practices and kept legacies without dismissing what came before. That's not what Zuffa's trying to do. And this money that they're giving out, that Zuffa, not Turkey, that Zuffa. What Zuffa's trying to do with the money provided by Turkey and the ring and TKO is not to build this sport up. From my vantage point, it's to change this sport to where they are the sport. This ain't about being amongst the other fish. This is a goldfish trying to take over a pond. You know goldfish, they're evasive. They don't go through and just meld with the population of fish. They go and they overpopulate. They literally squeeze out any other inhabitants of said pond or lake. You can't put a goldfish in there with every other, with just in any lake, because they will go and literally suffocate the life and resources out of anybody else inside of that pond or lake. It will invade and overtake by force the entirety of whatever environment that they're in. They won't mold and combine with it. That's what we are seeing when it comes to Zuffa. And this money is a lot of money. But there's a bigger picture at play that people need to be, even fighters need to recognize. There's a bigger picture at play. Again, not Zuffa specifically, Dana White specifically. It's a bigger picture at play. You need to recognize they're not trying to combine. They're not trying to assimilate. They're trying to overtake. And if they do overtake, yeah, it's going to be a problem. I'll guarantee it's going to be a problem. Let me see. Daryl Anderson. Hey, Jean-Luc, I just noticed something watching Anyway Junto fight back and wondered if you noticed it too. What did you notice? As again, this will be the last question before we end off this show, because we had to get out of here because we are way past our time. We'll talk more about this and other things on Friday in championship rounds, absolutely. But credit to you. We appreciate you. How you doing? Good to see you. And we can't wait to see what you have to say. But this is the last call, essentially, for this episode. And we're going to have more to talk about on tomorrow. Again, we didn't want this to turn into a real macabre situation. But again, we're going to have a lot of people, probably going to have a lot of people on Friday. We're going to have a lot of people on Friday. And with the stuff I'm going to play with Bill Haney, with Devin Haney and Shakur and all those stuff, we're going to have a lot more discourse and a lot more time to discuss it on championship rounds all day on Friday. So this is just a semblance of what we're going to be discussing on tomorrow afternoon. And you're going to be here for that, mark my words. Let me see. After Anyway dodged Junto's left overhand, he countered him with a clean left uppercut. But after Junto's retreated after the counter, and Anyway moved forward by switching to southpaw and cleverly attacked. I've never seen anyone do that. Yep. No, I saw it. To switch stances mid-counter with that type of urgency of almost autonomous ability. Again, ultra instinct. Yeah, it's a different breed. I told you. Y'all thought I was playing. I know exactly the sequence that you're talking about. And this is why at least I've never seen anyone do that. No, you barely see anybody do that. There's barely anybody in boxing history that's been able to do stuff like that. And I told you over a year ago, we played it in a short. This is why I said Roy Jones Jr. and Inoue are two sides of the same coin. Roy led with athleticism first. That was foundationally set up by a fundamental understanding of the sport and a mastery. Inoue is fundamental mastery first, backed by athleticism. But they both accomplish the same thing. You can get away with doing ridiculous stuff like that, where there's no way somebody of normal psyche would be able to think, react, and then accomplish said feat in the midst of a fight against one of the most potent punchers in the world that's on 10 when it comes to his own skill level. Yeah, no, that's different. That's different. That's the level of speed and reaction time that is insane, as well as an understanding of what to do. I tell you, that's muscle. That's not just reaction time and instincts, but that's rigorous training. That's muscle routine. To do that ain't something that's not common for anybody. That's why I'm saying he's cut from a different cloth. I've been saying it for countless times. He's cut from a different cloth, man. I noticed this in the YouTuber's fight breakdown. Oh yeah. Look, go watch 10 videos of other YouTubers breaking down that fight with Inoue and Nakatani. You'll find something new every single time. You'll find something new. That's why I advocate go looking out for other things. And like, again, research. Because there's a lot of people that are knowledgeable that can point out stuff I can't. And they can explain sequences that, shoot, I may miss. And why they're so prevalent. But what we're seeing, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But it is. That's how great Inoue is. And when we talk about top 10 pound for pound in the world, that's why he's number one. Because he's doing, again, it's not about just him being able to do it. He's doing this at the most high-risk situation. Pound for pound isn't just being clean and working. The biggest aspect for me as to what makes a fighter a great fighter is in the midst of danger, how are you able to be as great as you are? It's not just about being safe all the time. If you can operate while having your head directly in the line of getting popped clean off, and you're able to still work effortlessly against killers abounding, that's a different level of greatness. That's why Sugar Ray Leonard's one of the greatest ever. Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran. They were in the fire, and they were able to pull off stuff like this and more. Not playing it safe. And they knew they were in danger, and they still did it anyway because they were the only ones great enough to do it. No, who else could put themselves on the brink of death and still be able to say, hey, I'm walking on sunshine? That's what makes it so great. That's what makes it so great. That's why Inoue is the best in the world. Because, yeah, Usyk's pound for pound has been walking the walk and talking the talk, and he deserved to have it when he had it. But as a boxer, as a fighter, there's nobody better than Inoue. There's not. As a pure fighter, there's nobody better than Inoue. None. Not Boots, not Tank, not Shakur, not Usyk, not Benavidez, not Canelo. There wasn't. And there isn't. The only person that you could have even argued as a talent fighter was better than Inoue was Terrence Crawford. That was it. That was the only, as a straight fighter, that was the only man that I could argue was better than Inoue at that point in time. And Inoue was literally neck and neck with him. And Terrence Crawford got to my top 10 off of what he was able to do in ridiculous feats, and he deserved it. I'm telling you right now, with how Inoue's been fighting, he was the only one that was even in remote contention for ability and prowess. To me. I'm talking straight fighting. Just straight boxing. There wasn't anybody better except for Crawford. And now there's nobody better, period. Nobody, period. I dare say he may be, with what I saw in that fight, but he may be at Crawford's level. With what I saw in that fight with Nakatani, with Junto versus Inoue, again, if you really are about, if you want to appreciate technical work like y'all say y'all do, and I'm not saying this condescendingly, I'm saying it genuinely. If you want to talk about Shakur and you want to talk about Devin Haney and all their technical prowess and ability as a pure boxer, and you see Inoue and you're like, they're better, you lost your mind. And if you then can't say that what you're seeing from Inoue is untouchable, for me, I respect it. I just strongly disagree. I strongly disagree. This no accolades involved. We're talking straight boxing. We're talking straight sports. We're talking straight ability. There isn't anybody better right now than Inoue. Not a soul. Not Bam. I want to see that fight, absolutely. Bam is not better than Inoue. And that's an insane fight. That's a phenomenal fight. Bam is not better than Inoue. He is not. He is not. And I love that brother to death. He's not better than Inoue. He at this point, as a pure fighter, he may be the closest thing to him. He's not better than him. As a pure fighter, he may be the closest thing to him. Him and Shakur. He's not better than him. He ain't. No, he's not. Don't let the deserved, again, and it is very much deserved, hype, talent, spectacle, ability, and all-around threat that Bam is. It is deserved to be talked about in such high acclaim. He is the third best boxer in the world, definitively. Accolades, skill, and all that stuff combined. No question about it. He may elevate even higher depending on how he fights against Vargas at 118. You doggone right. Who formerly was at 126, I just found out. So we're going to see. Yeah, if Bam can really apply himself above weight classes, we're going to see if he can do it going up against the likes of Vargas. But I'm telling you, everything that Bam is undoubtedly true. And in a way, it's just that much better. The only thing that can be Inoue at this point, it might just be age. It might just be age, or completely just physically somebody is just too big for him. That may be the only thing. That might be the only thing. It might be. Because I'm telling you, there isn't a man or woman, there's not a soul on this planet that's a better fighter, pure fighter, sharper than Inoue. He can fight with the same poise and reactions of Shakur if he really wanted to. But he chooses to go to the Marvin Hagler route and the Sugar Ray Leonard route, the Roberto Duran route. I'm showing all my skills while I'm on the brink of getting caught and you can't catch me. That is something other fighters wouldn't even dream of trying to do. And even if they did, they couldn't do it as flawlessly. This isn't common. I'm telling you, this man is a different breed, and he is going to be, by the time his career ends, forget the best at 122 in history. He's going to be one of the best ever. 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 He looks like the most collective evolution of what a boxer has been able to become since we saw the days of Jack Johnson, Henry Greb, Ed Sullivan, and all these great fighters 100 plus years ago. All of this evolution of a fighter, this looks like the culmination of, hey man, when it comes to refinement, taking the meat and spitting out the bones, what works and what doesn't work in boxing, this may be the most complete brother I've ever seen. Outside of Roy and Sugar Ray Robinson. It may be. He's that good. He's that good. It's not glazed. It's real. It's not hype. It's real. He's not a monster. He's a myth. That's why he's not a monster. He's the myth. Because this shouldn't be possible. And he shouldn't exist. He should not exist. As a talented fighter like this, he shouldn't exist. He shouldn't, but he is. He's an anomaly that we didn't think we would see since Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao was supposed to be a once-in-a-lifetime type of person. At that frame, at that size, with that level of power, that can fight and beat above his weight class and be crowned as the best in the world multiple times over, fighting a decade, being under 130. It shouldn't be possible. Yet we got to see. I'm telling you, he's not a monster. He's a myth. He's something that we shouldn't see and something that shouldn't exist in boxing. Yet he does, despite what reality should tell you. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. It's preposterous, man. And I shake my head every time I think about it, because I put him like some of the best of all time. I will never be unappreciative of being able to watch this man live, because when he's gone, I tell you, we're gonna feel it. When he's gone, he gonna feel it. We gonna feel it. We are going to feel it. I got Anyway KO and Jesse Rodriguez. I understand. Let me sorry to bring up Anyway when I know you're talking about another live, but I had to share because I never seen one. No, I get it. It's fine. It's all good. Like I said, I completely understand. We go with the flow. And it's all well and good for us. Going over ain't no problem. We just try to keep it in the midst. But like I said, we got to end it. We got to get out of here. He's an anomaly, like Agent Brown said. And Neo had to start in the Matrix. Yeah, man, he just something different. Anyway, showed me he can box, not to be a brawler. He outboxed Nakatani. That's the thing. The getting lost in the power only hid the skills. And for Anyway, it's never been about the power of his punches. It's never been about the power. You see him like a surgical psychopath strip away every aspect of a fighter's plan to beat him. Like a knife, cut through and take away a weapon. Take away a weapon. Take away a weapon. Take away your footwork. Take away your jab. Take away your hook. Take away your exit option. Take away your slips. He takes it away every fight. And we see the same answer. There is no answer. Because what else do I have that I can do? That's what makes him so. He's done it. It has never been just, he's just too dominant. It's been, I can go and strip you away at a rate that nobody else can. It's insane, man. It's ridiculous. But look, we don't want to stay on too long. We got to go. We got to get out of here, because we do have to end all this show and let you all go and get ready for the rest of tomorrow. Let me see. Johnny Blaze, Welch versus Cepeda got announced. We did talk about that earlier in the show. News got broke August 1st, and he is going to be fighting Cepeda for the vacant WBC title. Actually, crazy enough, yeah, I got Roach winning that. And I'll tell you why tomorrow afternoon. Because we have to leave. But we'll talk about more about Roach and Zepeda. My further breakdowns to who I think's going to win. But I think Roach is going to beat him. I'm going to tell you why, though. But it's the same reason why he was able to beat the likes of Isak Cruz, but a little different twist on it. But I'll explain why tomorrow afternoon. But we got to go. We got to leave. I'll break down Zepeda and Roach and more, Zuffa and all that stuff tomorrow. We got to go and end all this show with a bang. So, ladies and gentlemen, with all of that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. We hope you enjoyed the show. I am so sorry that I went over time. It was supposed to be a lot shorter, but we just kept the conversation rolling, and it was just great. And hopefully you were entertained. Hopefully you were enjoying this whole abode of show, and hopefully you loved your time here on our live stream. We do this 3 days out the week, and we got one more show coming up on Friday afternoon where we're going to talk about Zuffa, Haney versus Shakur, multi-million-dollar deals as a whole with boxers, Zepeda versus Roach, Keyshawn Davis, and more talk about him. All that and so much more we will be discussing on tomorrow afternoon. We thank you to everybody who tuned in and listened to our show. Please, if you would, leave a like on the stream before you leave. Comment your thoughts and opinions and what you liked or didn't like about our show. One like makes a world of difference to help us to grow and send this show out to the algorithms all across the globe. So if you would, please help us out so much. Also hit the hype buttons on our past live streams to help push them out to the masses, even more so to help more people be involved with what we got going on. Hitting the hype button at the end of these streams and also in the individual videos on your mobile devices helps us out immensely as well. And please keep on liking the show, keep on sharing the stream, and keep on going through. And if you can't support the channel, we have Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, super chats and super gifts galore. If you can't afford to give, it would mean the world to me and helps us out to go through and invest in this show even more and helps us to go and make this show better, bigger and stronger for your viewing and listening pleasure, and helps me to pay the bills on the side. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and all that stuff. But anyway, I've been Jean-Luc Welch. You all have been absolutely wonderful. Be safe, be blessed, peace, and love. Oh, we are out here. Yes, sir. Salute to you. We're going to see you all on Friday, same time, same place, same channel. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Be safe, be blessed, and we out of here.